Who's going to hit that first turn? Gate number 1 working a treat there for Kasperzak, but up the inside comes Holder. There's contact. Oh dear, oh dear.
Oh,
into the fence they go.
Harris has hit the fence hard there.
Yeah, it's the air fence straight on there. Chris Harris, and Kasperzak is there as well, but you could see that there was danger there, the way they just all clicked together.
Tough crash.
It's a
really
tough one,
tough crash. Kasperzak hasn't moved. Harris is strewn on the track as well. There was Holder got right in amongst it, and Kasperzak and Holder were very close, and with Harris being on the outside, then got caught up in the action as well. But that was a very heavy impact for both riders.
Chris Harris has got up. Chris Harris is up.
That's remarkable.
Can tell you said obviously there that Kasperzak didn't move, Kel, but he did move the airbag away from him.
Did he?
But he's now just waiting for treatment. But Chris Harris is up on his feet. He's a tough old boy, Bomber Harris, isn't he?
He is indeed. And that's not the best way. He's holding his arm, Nigel. He doesn't look too good. It's good to see him up and about. There's now concern, of course, for Kasperzak, but that was a tough first corner. They all got awfully close, really keen to try and make that move. Because the conditions are greasy, riders know that they need to try and make a move early to try and get that run down the back straight, and it got awfully close. Obviously, we're concerned about Kasperzak.
Absolutely. I mean, we hate it, don't we, Kel? We love Speedway. We love going around doing our job on Speedway, but in the last couple of weeks, you know, as we
seen some big crashes.
Back in the UK, we've seen you know, some bad crashes. Matt Weathers at Berwick in the Premier League, and thankfully not too badly hurt, with Aaron Fox of Edinburgh, and Andre Compton of Sheffield as well.
Compton the week before in Sheffield, and that was a big crash as well, with the chain failure coming out of the last corner at Sheffield. But this was the first corner. Concern for Harris, he's up and about, but the wrist area, that looks like it might well be very sore indeed. Still attention being for Krzysztof Kasperzak, the Polish champion, but Holder was in there, wasn't he? Holder had made that move to try and chop up the inside, and he was getting himself into a point-scoring position, but it was all very tight.
Yeah, Harris holding his wrist, Kasperzak still down over on that second turn. Just shows you in Speedway, 1 minute you're absolutely confident, jubilant, winning the Polish championship, and then bang, a bad crash like this, straight into that air fence. He is winded, I'm told. Krzysztof Kasperzak, he's badly winded, but he is still there having some treatment, but he is badly winded, Krzysztof Kasperzak, that's what we're told.
Right, here we see it again. Kasperzak's made the start from the inside. Holder there just battling hard. He then finds himself up the inside. He gives Kasperzak a good shove there. Does. The Australian definitely clouts the side of him, and that creates that domino effect, with Kasperzak then high-siding and running into Chris Harris, who's coming from the outside. Look, Harris is the innocent party here.
All four back is the verdict from Krista Gardell. That is an awful crash. Absolutely dreadful, and well,
I'd like to see it again. Holder there just getting pinched by Lindgren, and then he gets up the inside here, and there's no question there's contact there. He does give Kasperzak a nudge there, you know, and that creates the problem for Kasperzak. And I think Holder may be a little bit fortunate to be in the rerun.
Well, he is in the rerun. Yeah, all four riders back.
He's giving him a good clout there.
If that was at any other part of the race, aside from the first or second turn, somebody would have had to have gone there. The referee technically has given an unsatisfactory start here.
I think when you see that angle, I think Chris has been a little bit fortunate to get away with that. Unintentional, no malice in it, but he definitely gave Kasperzak a good thump in the middle of that first corner, and then caused them two boys. Good to see him back up. Terrific, because that was quite a horrifying way the bikes went in there. And I'll tell you what, once again, air fences. Don't ever tell me they're not worth it, because it just saved two blokes from serious injuries. Still
amazing, you know, you still do get a few dissenting voices that, you know, they don't need it or whatever, but that was a prime example. Absolutely.
You know, they've gone head on. Chris Harris went head on into the safety fence, and he's got up and walked away.
Well, they can have a bit of time to get their breath back, because they do have to repair the fence here as well. The fence isn't too good either, but you'd rather have the fence taking most of the damage than a rider's body. And they're tough boys, these riders.
They are. It just takes all the energy out of it. It just soaks up, and you know, riders are now going to have to just, particularly Kasperzak, will just have to get his breath back and just refocus on getting out there. But it's very greasy, and you see riders, just one or two boys, just struggling for setup in their first rides, and a rider getting a little bit more grip like Holder did there. He had just a little bit more grip. Doesn't go initially, he chops to the inside and then finds himself picking up a bit of grip just as Kasperzak pulls a little bit of a locker. And then, as I say, no malice in it, but, you know, early doors, you want to make your move in that first corner, and it just didn't quite work out, but all 4 of them will be back.
Yeah, Harris couldn't get out of this.
No, he's
simple as
innocent victim here. Yeah. He's just unfortunate, just in the wrong place at the wrong time for Chris. And hard, well, as I say, both those riders are lucky to get themselves up on their feet and get away with it.
Well, we're already down to 1 reserve who is available to cover for riders this afternoon, because Kas Podzooks is the man who replaces Darcy Ward today, and that his first ride will be in heat number 4. Heat number 3, the restart, will be coming up next, but we keep seeing this replay and it doesn't get any prettier. But we're just grateful that the boys have walked away from this.
Absolutely, it was, you know, the way that particularly Harris's bike straightens up there, and he just loses control with Kasperzak almost trying to high side, and then finally he does. He has to get off the bike and gets slammed into the track and then into the fence. No, it was a tough first corner for those 3 boys. Kasperzak up and about, in good form. Definitely struggled with the knee problem. It affected him. He didn't ride as well as he had early season when he won in Bydgoszcz. Good to see that Harris has got half a smile on his face anyway, so he'll be back out for the rerun. We will have 4 for the restaging of Heat 3. Great to see so many people here. That's terrific. Yeah,
and the fence is almost repaired already, Kelvin, so hopefully in a matter of moments we're going to be back out there. But yeah, you're right. The turnout here in Daugavpils is fantastic. We all know that it was unfortunate that last night in Riga was postponed, but we've made the 3-hour journey down here to Daugavpils today, and the crowd have turned out, and it really is great to see.
Fabulous. Really good atmosphere. You know, just prior coming up to the commentary position, I've just sensed it out the back, you know, bit of food stalls going on. Remarkable. 24 hours ago it wasn't happening here, and now
Can you imagine being a fan of Lokomotiv Daugavpils? You're down at your local club, and then you get the word that there's a Grand Prix at your track tomorrow. Well, we better go and watch it then, haven't we?
Well, let's pop along. Yeah, let's just see what's going on. No, it is quite a remarkable turnaround, and credit to everybody concerned, because yesterday was a very disappointing day, and now we've got a Grand Prix, admittedly not quite where we were expecting it, but yeah, it's going to be a good Grand Prix. Once the track just settles down after that heavy shower. Last year we proved to be a fabulous advert for World Championship Speedway, and I see no reason why it won't be something similar here.
And they do love their Speedway here in Daugavpils. They are in the Polish League, even though we're in Latvia, of course. The Daugavpils side are in the Polish League, and they face Bydgoszcz next Sunday here.
Second league, yes.
Yeah, I mean, what a great way to spend a Sunday afternoon.
Yeah, it's very well supported here. I know Jonas Kilmacorpi rides here, and Scotty Nichols, and they get a great turnout and very enthusiastic, and it's a terrific track. So yeah, it's a bit of a trek from Riga every time, but once you get here, you've got quite a treat as regards the track.
So the 2-minute time allowance is on, and we're getting set for the restart of heat number 3 here at the Lokomotiv Stadium here in Daugavpils, and Krzysztof Kasperzak back out there. Red helmet colour, still with some work to do to book his place securely in the top 8 for next year. Reminder, if you don't get in the top 8 of the World Championship, then you have to rely on either A, qualification, or B, a seeding from the organisers to get into next year's series.
Yeah, he'll be working hard to avoid that. He won't want to rely on a pick. They're going to have to change their equipment as well. Quite likely the bikes were bent after that accident, so Kasperzak and Harris almost certainly I haven't come out in their spare equipment, keeping their fingers crossed that they perform how they want. Not easy when you haven't practiced. Obviously you've got to choose a bike and to see how it goes, and there will be lots of alterations to equipment after you've had your first ride.
No doubt about it. All 4 riders back for the restart then, off heat number 3 here. Let's take a look across the grid once again, with Krzysztof Kasperzak off the inside, Chris Holder off 2, Lindgren off 3, Harris off 4. And the fact that those 2 boys who crashed are back at the start line is a fantastic achievement in itself. Let's hope we get to see a good Speedway race and we enjoy ourselves here. Heat number 3, they are heroes. Every guy that goes out there and rides a Speedway bike are true heroes. The most dangerous sports around, and if you are joining us for the first time on a Sunday afternoon, then welcome along. and hope you enjoy our coverage here of the Speedway Grand Prix. 4 laps, clutch start, 500cc engines, no brakes, and these guys are made of steel, no doubt about that. Heat number 3 it is then. We await the green light from Krista Gardell. Take tries. Kasperzak has dropped the clutch beautifully there, right away from the start. And now Lindgren's going to try the inside, but coming around, the man in the blue helmet colour is Chris Holder, who holds second place now and has got lots of speed as well. Harris has come through into third, but the lead here is with Christoph Kasperzak, who just moments ago was buried in the air fence coming out of turn 2, and now he has the lead in heat number 3.
Well, this is a great effort from Kasperzak. That was a heavy fall he had there, and he's responded brilliantly. The confidence clearly oozing through him after that Polish Championship win on Thursday last week. Looks good out in front. Holder back in the Grand Prix is charging hard, and Harris is hanging on to third place, but Lindgren now beginning to work the outside line. Down the back straight, and the Swedish rider gets the better of the Brit, fires himself into third place, but Kasperzak out in front, Nigel. This is a good effort from him. There's a lap to go, and it looks like he'll pick up a win here.
Type of track where Kasperzak is well capable of going out and winning this meeting. Yeah. He's that kind of rider as well. He's world class, we know. Going into the latter stages of heat number 3 now. Kasperzak was taking his left hand off the handlebars there as he comes down to the start-finish line, looks across at Chris Holder with Freddie Lindgren third and Chris Harris at the back.
Interesting that was the way he behaved there. Maybe he's a little bit frustrated about what Chris did in the first corner, but
there's no acknowledgement between Kasperzak and Holder there at all.
I don't think he appreciated quite what happened first time around, but Kasperzak responded brilliantly and won quite nicely.
I think, personally, I just think that first race was just racing. Simple as that.
No malicious, but Kasperzak was the one that bounced against the track, so you can feel for his frustration there.
Kasperzak, Holder with Lindgren in third place there. Chris Harris at the back, walked away holding his wrist, of course, from that accident. Let's hope there's nothing too serious there where Chris is concerned, but KK with a special display.
Well, you said it, Nigel. He dropped the clutch bang on, and he did, and he made that bike work, and he'll be pleased he got on his second bike because it was fast, and he was out in front, chased hard by Chris Holder, but Holder just couldn't quite make the move. Track still settling down, and so are the riders. Good move later on by Freddie Lindgren. He got the better of Chris Harris, and relegates the British rider to the back. Kasperzak, a little frustrated. He obviously felt a little bit aggrieved about what had happened first time out with that clash in the first corner, and possibly has an argument, but he responded brilliantly, full of confidence, and starts in the ideal way with 3 points to his name.
Always has top equipment to race, doesn't he, Kasperzak? He's immaculately turned out, but he's in some pain there, quite clearly. But how many times have we seen him go through the pain barrier? He missed Finland, and then he came back a couple of weeks later. You could see there was agony written all over him.
Struggled, didn't he, with that knee ligament, snapped it, and he's found it difficult to really figure it out.
Here we go with heat 4.
Stuff from him.
Yeah, 2 Latvian boys here in heat number 4. Podzuks in for Darcy Ward, and we have Andrzej Lebedev, who really raised the roof on the main stand here last year. Andrzej Lebedev. For me, Latvia were pretty poor in the World Cup. I thought they might have done a little bit better in the World Cup, but didn't happen.
They were remarkably good in 2013 at Czestochowa. They did a fantastic job, and Andrzej Lebedev's was superb here last year.
Kas Podzuks off the inside in red, had a brief spell in the UK with Oxford in the mid-2000s with Nigel Wagstaff as promoter then. Andreas Jonsson goes off gate 2 in blue, Andrzej Lebedev gate 3 in white. Jarek Hampel off the outside. Don't write the Latvian duo off in their own backyard. They'll be well and truly up for this.
Yeah, Lebedev's last year was all but in the final. Just a mistake late on in the semi-final allowed Ward through. But Andrzej Lebedev, they know this place like the back of their hand. Of course, they ride for the club in the Polish league. So don't be surprised if 1 or 2 surprises here this afternoon with Lebedevs and Podzuks.
Don't be surprised at a surprise, says Kelvin Tatum, and there's Podzuks with the lead early on. Here comes Hampel. Jarek Hampel in yellow, lovely switch around the outside. Podzuks is holding second place, Lebedev is third, and the man at the back is Andreas Jonsson. Jarek Hampel kicking on. Podzuks in for Darcy Ward is second, with Lebedev holding third right now.
Yeah, great first corner, very similar to what Kenneth Pierre did in his opening ride. Just allowed the bike to run around the middle of the first corner, and Jarek Hampel looks really good out in front. A little bit hit and miss this year, but big hit in this opening ride for him. Podzook settles nicely in second place. Lebedev now coming under pressure from Andreas Jonsson, who's out the back. Disappointment for the Swede, but got to say, Jarek Hampel looks good here, Nigel. He's fast out in front, controlling the race nicely.
Yeah, he is. He only got a couple of points in Finland, 3 in Prague and 7 in Cardiff, and they have been the blips on Jarek Hampel's Grand Prix campaign which have cost him so far. He's into turns 3 and 4. He is the world number 2. It is Jarek Hampel of Poland, and plenty of support for him here, as you would expect. Down towards the line at the back, Jonsson having a go, almost run out of room, and a real battle for just a solitary point. Remember, it's a top 8 tonight, or this afternoon. Must stop saying tonight. This afternoon.
Not easy.
who go through to the semi-finals. But Jarek Hampel with a fantastic ride there. Podzook's looking good in second spot. Remember, Podzook's a reserve, taking the place of Darcy Ward this afternoon. And down to the checkered flag. Who's going to get third? Is it going to be Jonsson, or is it Andrzej Lebedev in the white helmet?
Here they come. Very tight. Actually, this is a lot closer than I thought it was. Jonsson may have just stolen that, you know, on the run to the line. It's awfully close. Difficult to see from that angle, but great effort from Hampel out in front. He's terrific in the first corner. Not easy to overtake at this stage of the meeting.
You nearly said night then, didn't you?
I did indeed, yeah. But thanks for reminding me. Appreciate that. Track grading going on now, but it's still undecided about third place. It was a terrific battle, and if Jonsson's got it, it was a great effort because he looked dead and buried for a long time there in that race.
Referee wants to see another angle of that, I think, or certainly take another look at it before giving his verdict here. Down to the line we go. Dear, oh dear, that is so tight.
It's really close, and because he's hidden by the safety fences, you can't quite see his front wheel and where the white, front tyre got to the finish line first. But
so we are hearing that Lebedev has got third place and that Jonsson finished last there. So it is a point for Andrzej Lebedev. It means the result is Hampel, Podzooks, Lebedev and Jonsson. Race winners so far: Greg Hancock, Kenneth Pierre, Krzysztof Kasperzak and Jarek Hampel.
yeah, good stuff from Jarek Hampel. He'll be pleased with that. As I say, he's been a little bit up and down this season. He hasn't quite got the consistency that he would like, but one in fine style here. No practice, comes out, gate 4, allows the bike to run in the middle of the track and has a lot of speed out in front. Good tussle here between Lebedev and Andreas Jonsson, and Jonsson tried really hard and failed in his bid late on in the race. Podzooks are coming in at the last minute to replace Darcy Ward. He gets 2 points, and here's the charge around the outside from Jonsson. Just here for a moment, he must have felt that he nearly got there, but Lebedev on that angle probably just hanging on to third place. Crowd, of course, excited, unexpectedly, got a Grand Prix in their own back garden. That's terrific.
Yep, superb. Great to see the fans here. It's a carnival-type atmosphere as well. They've got the barbecues on the go, the refreshment areas all around, souvenir stalls as well. It's great to see. Now, Krzysztof Kasperzak, quite a story he's got to tell. He's down in the pits with our man Chris Louis.
For a fantastic start to the meeting for you, and it's a big meeting, you know. You've got to make the top 8. You had such a fantastic start to the season with the win in Bydgoszcz, so nice to pick yourself up from the air fence, take the checkered flag.
Yeah, I'm lucky again. Before I'm crash Landshut, I lose like 15 points maybe, 2 runs, 7. Now when I crash again, I really want to stay for the next season, and I do everything what I can do. His finger is a little bit problem, but you know, I'm lucky I'm not do nothing because it's big impact to my head and neck, and I think my neck is problem, but I'm okay. Thank you, God.
A very tough first corner from Chris Holder on the inside as well, which really caused the problems.
Yeah, I'm like middle in the track. He goes straight to me, and now even say sorry for he completely damaged my bikes, but what we can do with them.
Thanks for talking to us, Krzysztof. Thank you.
Yeah, I think that backs up what we thought, that he wasn't too impressed with Chris Holder there.
No, he wasn't, and I think that Chris was a little bit fortunate not to get excluded. And but Chris de Gardel saw it differently. Disappointing start to this afternoon's meeting for Niels Christian Iversen. He'll be looking to bounce back after that opening ride.
But what a great start for Greg Hancock, and he's with Chris.
Well, Greg, fantastic way. You won in Cardiff, and you've started off exactly the same here tonight with a win. Fantastic.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, it's nice to get a win, especially the track was pretty wet there to start with. So making a good start and getting front. So now just got to watch the conditions changing pretty quick.
Early days, but you've drawn level in the championship as well with Ty Wolfenden finishing last. Do you keep an eye on that, or you just focus on the race meeting itself?
Yeah, I mean, it's too many events left, you know, in this whole thing, and points are points. We both won a lot of points, and as well as a lot of other guys too. So I got my heart set on taking a lot of points now. I want to get to the semi-final and then go for it.
A quick word about track conditions. How are they?
They're okay. I mean, we got a downpour there before the start, and the track was really wet and slimy the first heat. So, but you know, with a restart now and the last 3 heats there, it's dried out quickly. So the conditions are changing really, really fast.
Thanks, Ray.
Got it. Thank you.
Yeah, it will be interesting to see how they do. It's bright sunshine now, and they'll have to put more water on. And you will have to keep your eye on that, because it's going to be dusty one race, and then it's going to be a little bit greasy if you're coming out just after they've watered. So catching it right and keeping the bike set up spot on is going to be really important to the outcome and how successful you're going to be in the Grand Prix. Hampel was very successful in his opening ride, of course, 3 points. You can't do better than that. The world champion, Ty Wolfenden, had a very disappointing opening ride in Heat 2 where he failed to score, but clearly had too much horsepower. The bike wasn't getting hooked up, Nige, and he'll be just tweaking that bike to get it to just drive a little bit harder.
Unexpected bonus for the people of Daugavpils then, to have a Speedway Grand Prix in their own backyard here, and that is the crowd that have turned out at 24 hours notice. Huge credit to them. Hampel preparing for action then. Here, heat number 5. Iversen is in the pit bay next to him. They're the world's 2 and 3 from last season, and they're right next to each other, and they're out alongside each other off gates 1 and 2 in heat number 5 as well.
Yeah, going head to head here, and Iversen will be frustrated with his opening ride. He just got caught out the back. It was early in the meeting, and he just wasn't able to land a blow, but conditions would have played that part as well. It was very greasy and wet, as Greg Hancock was saying in his interview. So yeah, Iversen will be very keen to try and hit the front, more than capable of winning at this level, of course. He is really the real deal at Grand Prix level, and not out of the championship race. He has ambitions to be world champion without doubt. So yeah, Iversen will be looking to bounce back. And Hampel now, for him, he just needs to try and remain consistent. He has been up and down like a yo-yo this season.
So we await heat number 5, but they are taking a little bit longer here, I think, because they want to try and get some water down. And it is ironic, isn't it? We were worried about a heavy, heavy downpour earlier, but now, Kelvin, they've got to get some water down because the sun is baking the track.
Yes, it just was throwing up some dust in the previous race, so yes, that's why it's quite marginal how much water you put on, because it's quite firm on the inside, and you don't want to make it greasy, too greasy or slippery, where riders then suddenly do pirouettes in the middle of the first corners. Throttle control is going to be important as well. But yeah, they know their stuff here. They race regularly, of course, in the league, and they must know exactly what they're doing. But yeah, it's not as wet as it was, and it did dry remarkably quickly. But the track is ready. We should be able to get back to action very soon.
Yeah, baking hot now here in Daugavpils on this Sunday afternoon, and we're preparing for heat number 5. Hampel, Iversen, Batchelor and Lindgren are in this lineup. We have had that slight delay because of that crash early on involving Kasperzak and Harris, but thankfully they're okay. And here we see the standings. No Darcy Ward this afternoon, and Niels Christian Iversen needs points here, and this is heat number 5 coming up.
Well, an important race for Niels Christian Iversen, desperate to try and put pressure on the front 2 in the championship chase. Disappointing opening ride for him, of course, but now he will have made some tweaks to the equipment, and he needs to try and find that bike, get it really hooked up. He's up against a race winner, though, on the inside, an accomplished performer, of course, the world number 2, Jarek Hampel. We're hoping that he'll be hoping, of course, that he can now back up that first ride when he won in convincing style with another big performance coming out of the inside gate.
Troy Batchelor, who rides for the Swindon Robins in the UK, and has had that one good round in his debut Grand Prix campaign where he was absolutely stunning. Troy Batchelor, where he rode superbly at Copenhagen, and now we build up to heat number 5. Hampel, Iversen, Bachelor and Lindgren.
Okay, yeah, big race. Hampel on the inside, I think that's a good spot to come from. And we'll be hoping to back up. Bachelor here coming out of gate 3. Another big racing prospect.
Here we go then, heat number 5. It's Jarek Hampel off the inside in red with Niels Christian Iversen off gate 2 in blue, Troy Bachelor gate 3 in white, and Freddie Lindgren going off the outside in yellow. That's your lineup then for heat number 5. Nicky Pedersen watching on with John Jorgensen, the former rider. And
he had a strong first race, Pedersen. He would be pretty satisfied with that, but there's 3 riders in this race that need to pick up their performances. The boys in gates 2, 3 and 4 struggled in their opening rides. They'll be desperate to try and get amongst the points now.
So, heat number 5 it is. The resumption of the Rio Tumu Bank FIM Latvian Speedway Grand Prix here in Daugavpils. The tape stayed down a long time and Bachelor was looking nervous there, and Iversen, what a rider now. Zagar switches up the inside in yellow, but Iversen now coming around in blue here in heat number 5. That's a super start from him in the blue helmet colour. And now coming down the home straight as well, being chased hard by Freddie Lindgren in yellow. 3rd in red is Jarek Hampel, and Bachelor is the man at the back. But Lindgren holds 2nd place now, and they're all bunching up the 3 riders towards the back.
Can you believe it? Jarek Hampel's got to the back after winning in such fine style in his opening ride. Good move from Lindgren to get himself into 2nd place early on. Iversen, what a way to bounce back. Showing terrific character out in front. Poor in his opening ride, got caught out by conditions, was tailed off out the back. He's fast, he's away, looking terrific. Lindgren much better this time, charged hard. A few tweaks to the motorbike and it's working an awful lot better. Bachelor trying hard, and disappointment once again for Hampel. Up and down, cannot find the consistency.
Yeah, it was a clever switch from Lindgren up the inside early on there, but Niels Christian Iversen has got the race under control, bouncing back beautifully after his opening ride. Disappointment. It's 3 points for Niels Christian Iversen.
Yeah, good
He needed
ride.
them there as well, didn't he? Super ride from him. Freddie Lindgren in 2nd spot with Troy Bachelor in 3rd place there, and Jarek Hampel this time at the back. So it's a win and a last for both Jarek Hampel and Niels Christian Iversen. A bit of an inconsistency creeping in then between those 2 riders, but that's the way the World Championship is. And a reminder, there are 4 rounds left after this afternoon. And here's the result. Niels Christian Iversen the winner, Freddie Lindgren 2nd, Troy Bachelor was 3rd, Jarek Hampel at the back. It means now that we have Hampel and Iversen on 3 points each, but Hancock, Kasperzak, Pierre and Lindgren also on 3. A whole bunch of riders now on 3 points after 5 heats.
Yeah, great stuff from Iversen. He would have been frustrated after his first ride, but he comes out in his 2nd one out of gate 2, makes a great start. Around that first corner, Lindgren there hugging the white line and gets himself nicely into 2nd place early in the race. And Jarek Hampel, after looking absolutely fabulous in the opening ride, he struggles here and he doesn't actually, he fails to score. It's Troy Bachelor now that moves into 3rd place. 3 of them all together there, but the Polish rider, they're just not on the pace. That man is. Niels Christian Iversen, desperate for points, wants to put pressure on the top 2 in the world. And that's how you go about it, winning some races and building that point score. Good stuff.
Yep, was indeed. Niels Christian Iversen, who is not out of the world title race. This man now in yellow, Ty Woffenden, under pressure, and now he's alongside Greg Hancock, the man who is level with him, 90 points apiece. Iversen on 77 now. No Darcy Ward today, so he will stay on 75 points. And a real opportunity for Woffenden and Hancock to extend that gap, but they have Kasperzak and Jonsson here as well. What a lineup for heat number 6.
This is a special lineup early in the meeting. Heat 6 is really tasty. Going to be a tough call, this one.
Jonsson off the inside, Kasperzak off 2, Hancock off 3, and Woffenden going off the outside in yellow. Woffenden, who was just caught out at the start of his opening ride, but no such trouble for Greg Hancock, who was immaculate as ever. And you do run out of superlatives to describe Greg Hancock in his career. It's just quite remarkable, isn't it?
It's staggering, you know. He just keeps producing these, you know, these rides time and time again. The consistency is extraordinary. Woffenden's going to have to bounce back here. He just didn't get the bike sorted out in his first one. From the outside, needs a big start because it's a really hotly contested race. Kasperzak and Hancock, winners first time out.
Here we go. Heat number 6. Who's going to hit that first turn? It's Kasperzak off 2. Wonderful ride. Now Woofenden with a switch up the inside. Hancock's in there as well, but that's a great move from Ty Woofenden to switch up the inside, but it's being hunted down by KK and Hancock now. We've got a race on our hands here. Woofenden goes wide and has got the drive with Kasperzak second, Hancock third. Kelvin, that was a great switch from the champion.
But that's why he's the world champion. It was a fabulous move in the first corner. Quick thinking, got himself to the inside. He didn't really get the drive to the first turn. He wanted to, away from the tapes, but he looks terrific now. Hancock chasing hard in third place on the back wheel as they charge into the first corner again. Woofenden hanging off the side of the bike, having a look over his shoulder. Kasperzak settling nicely in second place. Johnson's out the back, but Woofenden, this is a super ride from him. The two boys behind him won convincingly in their opening rides.
Woofenden on target to go 2 points ahead of Hancock in the title race. You do get the feeling it's going to be like this every step of the way now. Bit of a dust bowl here in Daugavpils now as well. It was pouring down with rain just about an hour ago, but it's Ty Woofenden who takes the checkered flag. The reigning champion retakes the lead in the World Championship as well, and that was all down to a brilliant switch up the inside in the early stages of heat number 6. Brilliant stuff from Great Britain's Ty Woofenden.
Fabulous first corner. He knew he wasn't going to get there, and he had the opportunity to switch to the inside. It was very slick and dusty there, but he made it work. And once he got to the front, he dominated the race.
He did. Woofenden, Kasperzak, Hancock, the finishing order there. And Christoph Kasperzak now on 5 points ahead of Hancock on 4. They are a point ahead now of the rivals, but there's Woofenden, a happy man after that race.
Yeah, and rightly so. Everson and Woofenden have bounced back in fine style here after failing to score in their opening rides. This is the move. Just knows he's not going to be able to get around the outside. The door opens up beautifully for him, and he pounces and then has enough speed to hang on down the back straight on the opening lap. Good move from Kasperzak there. Doesn't allow the bike. He chops back to the inside, stops the move from Hancock. Hancock has to give best there and has to settle for third place. Kasperzak looking good in second place and is enjoying a pretty good start to the meeting this afternoon. Hancock there having to control that wheelie in the middle part of the race, but the champion winning races once again, he'll be pleased with that.
Hasn't had the best of times in the UK with Wolverhampton, Ty Woofenden, but quite clearly he's had to put that to one side in the big events as well. Kasperzak, 5 points from 2 rides.
Strong start to tonight's meeting, building on the confidence that he would have gained from the Polish Championship.
Heat 7 it is. Nicky Pedersen, the man in white. We have Kasperzak in for Darcy Ward. Chris Holder is in this one as well. Let's take a look across the grid for you. Inside is Chris Holder of Australia, the 2012 world champion. Kasperzak's reserve for Ward off 2. Nicky Pedersen gate 3 in white from Denmark, and Martin Smolinski off the outside. All 4 riders with a couple of points under their belts.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see who's going to pick up their first win here. One of them will. And Holder on the inside looks pretty good. Touch fortunate, possibly not to have been excluded, but he'll take the 2 points. Thank you very much indeed. Nicky Pedersen, he strutted his stuff there. He worked hard for 2, as did Smolinski. Podzuk's also, he was unexpectedly called up into the meeting proper, and he enjoyed a good opening ride.
Certainly did. Here we go. Heat number 7. Now, can Holder make it count from gate number 1? And Podzuk's is there in blue. And Daugavpils goes wild, but Smolinski comes through, and Pedersen's almost lost it completely. And here comes Podzuk's again down the back straight. What a move from Kasperzak's in blue. He's only a reserve. It was a late call up for Darcy Ward. And this place is electric. Smolinski second, Pedersen third. Holder now is going to try hard up the inside to pass Nicky Pedersen. But this man ahead is Kasperzak, and he is the hero of Daugavpils right now.
Fans are on their feet, they're loving this. Terrific stuff. Didn't think he was going to get many rides at all this afternoon, but here in his second ride, he's out in front. He's going to go joint top in the Grand Prix if he manages to hang on out in front. Smolinski now coming under pressure. Nicky Pedersen's done awfully well to get in the second place. Super ride from him. Podzuk's with a lap to go, delighting the home fans. Super stuff.
Brilliant stuff from Kasperzak. They had that disappointing Latvian campaign in the World Cup. They should have done so much better, you feel.
Yeah.
This is the true form that we know they're capable of, the Latvians. Let's bring him home! This place has gone absolutely crazy. Cas Podzooks in as a reserve for Darcy Ward in blue, and he takes that checkered flag, punches the air. It's a great moment for Podzooks in Heat 7. It's fairy tale stuff here in Daugavpils this afternoon.
Oh, that was a smashing ride. He had to work hard for it as well. He did a great move down the back straight to get the better of Smolinski and got himself to the front and delighted the home crowd. They were on their feet as he completed the first lap, loving every moment of that. Pedersen battled really hard to get into second place.
He's level at the top of the GP with Kasperzak.
Fantastic.
Astonishing. Extraordinary scenes here.
We did say extraordinary. They're all in this, you know, Nigel, and there's no question that Podzooks and the Lebedevs will surprise one or two GP regulars. Great start. Out of gate 2. Then Smolinski gets right in on the act here. That was a good move from the German, but Podzooks just has enough racing room. Pedersen's crew will be pleased with that. Solid start to this afternoon's meeting for the 3-time World Speedway champion. There he is, right on the outside in the opening corner. How on earth he stayed on there was a minor miracle, but how well did he recover? After that incident early in the race, he battles back into second place, so a lot of commitment from Pedersen and disappointment this time for Holder. He gets relegated to the back and fails to score, but Cas Podzooks and home fans will be chuffed to bits with that ride. That's terrific.
Brilliant stuff. It's fairy tale speedway here for Podzooks. Excellent. Heat number 8, and we have Lebedev the wild card. Here's Zagar in red, but Lebedev will go off the outside in yellow. When you look at the Latvian riders, you have Bogdanov, who's a good rider as well, and that's why I was surprised they didn't quite do as well as they might have done in Vastovic in the World Cup, Kel.
Yeah, Vastovic was quite technically demanding the track. It was a little bit rough, and they like the big, wide open spaces like they're encountering here, and they just need to develop a little bit more, and then they will become more consistent in all different types of conditions. But on the home patch, they are a genuine threat.
Yeah, it's good to see, and every time he came down the home straight here, just by our commentary position,
they were loving him, weren't
they were on their feet. It was great to see.
Absolutely, yeah. Really did set it alight, and they're very keen to support their own, and Lebedevs will be coming out here off gate 4, and I can assure you, he is not scared. He will give it everything he's got.
He's not here to make up the numbers, is he?
No. Nope.
Zagar off the inside, Bier off 2, Harris off 3, Lebedev going off the outside. Bier, a very, very fast winner first time out. Can he make it 2 wins out of 2? But it's Zagar going into that first turn, and now Harris tries to switch up the inside. Lovely move from Chris Harris of Great Britain. Zagar now down the back straight. Stay on your belly, boy!
Stay on! Oh, he lifted violently down the back. He was all over the back of Zagar. How on earth did he stay on? Remarkable. Harris hits the front. Terrific effort there from the British rider after a heavy fall in that first staging of his first ride. Zagar now can't believe it. Where is he? A little bit concerned about what's going on behind him. Lebed now settles in 3rd place with Pierre, who's a winner first time out. He's out the back, but Harris looks good here. He's had a hard time in the GP series. He'll be pleased with this if he can hang on out in front.
Don't try this at home, folks.
No,
it's dangerous.
Not recommended.
Speedway racing here in the World Championship, and Chris Harris, who's had a torrid old year back in the Grand Prix, is kicking on, and he's carving up heat number 8. Chris Harris of Great Britain. Zagar's going towards the fence, so is Lebedev.
Yes.
And they're going to do some track grading work after this, I'm sure, to pull it all back. But with Chris Harris, he's going to take the checkered flag. Fantastic win. There's British fans that have made the trip here, and Chris Harris has just pulled off a stunning ride just a few moments after he was in the air fence holding his wrist. He's a tough old boy, Chris Harris of Great Britain. Well done, that man.
Yeah, great amount of respect for him. He had a hard fall, and he's then battled so hard. Great speed, loved it out by the safety fence. Good ride from Chris Harris. Andrei Lebedev, how he stayed on his bike down the back straight is a miracle.
Harris, Zagar, Lebedev and Bier. Quite extraordinary speedway race. We'll see some fantastic stuff. And Kasperzak and Podzooks, they're the leaders of the GP.
Yeah, great ride there from Chris Harris. He'll be chuffed to bits with that. His race wins this year in the Grand Prix series have been few and far between. We'll watch this again. Zagar makes the start nicely, allows the bike to run right up the banking. Great first corner. Woofenden did it, and now Harris does. But watch this. How did he stay on? They're going so fast down the back straight. It's a miracle because he runs right up the back here with Zagar trying to protect it. Hits his leg, then hits the back wheel. But Dev must have had his heart in his mouth there. He was.
This is a great angle. Look at this.
100% he's a passenger right now. Just good fortune is the reason he stays up. Incredible. Good news for Harris. Pleased for him. Won the race in fine style, and you can see how he reacted. He's really pleased with that.
Yeah, quite right too.
Yeah.
Well, it's an open meeting, Kelvin. Everybody's dropping points.
Yeah, it is. It's difficult conditions. It's quite slick and dusty on the inside, and there's a dirt line high and wide, and yeah, difficult to be consistent.
Well, Nicky Pedersen has been in the thick of the action, and he is now with our man, Chris Louis.
Nicky, a fantastic ride. You've worked so hard for your 4 points tonight, actually running up the fence in turn one there.
Yeah, I knew I had to go wide, and that's where the dirt are. But I didn't really expect he was going to push me that far, you know, and I was kind of racing, you know, and I went over this bank reverse thing, you know, and I could feel I was going towards the fence, then going to the left side. So now I managed to stay on, so that was good.
But the track does seem to be developing that way. We've just seen Matty Zagar also running up the fence on lap 3 there, so it's a tough racetrack right now.
Yeah, it's kind of only one line sort of there, you know. You got to be up at the dirt and really be committed to it. So no, it's so everybody wants to chase the same line. Obviously, you know, I pulled back, you know, I felt okay with the speed, you know, and I got 2 points out of it when I was dead last, so it's all right.
Does it make setting the bike up difficult? Obviously, you want to get off the start, but you've got to ride such a big track out there.
Yeah, I'm not 100% off starts yet. I don't know what happened. I think gate 3 is quite difficult out there, but no, I'm there, you know. I feel the speed is all right, so I keep on working on bike.
Thanks, Nicky.
Thank you.
Yeah, a solid start for Nicky Pedersen. Johnny Jorgensen there chatting with Tom P. Madsen, the team now gelling. And he's had to fight awfully hard for 4 points, and fair play to him. And interesting in the interview there, he was saying that he felt the speed was there, just needs to figure out the starts. But can never rule him out. He's got 4 points after 2 rides. Not disastrous.
No, and particularly when you consider that everybody is dropping points, and we see how many riders now. We've seen a last and a win. You've got Jere Campbell, you've got Chris Harris, Niels Christian Everson, Ty Woffenden and Kenneth Bier have got a last and a win under their names. So it really is
tough afternoon, and it's difficult to get the bike set up spot on. And if you've won your first race, you're reluctant to change it, and I think that's what happened with Jere Campbell.
Well, no doubt Chris Harris is a happy man. He's with Chris Louis now.
It's been a tough night, a very tough start to the night, a horrific crash in your first one, but a fantastic win there in Heat 8.
Yeah, the first one didn't go to plan, but picked myself up, changed bikes because everyone's written off, and managed to get a win that I need.
How are you feeling? Obviously, it was a tough crash. We can see you're still out there winning races, though. That looks good. Yeah, it's a bit sore. I landed on me backside and hurt my finger, but I'll worry about that when the racing's finished. Track conditions, the dirt line has moved very wide, so you've got to be riding with a lot of confidence out there for that. Yeah, dirt is wide. I realised that in that race. So, just got to get there first before the other 3 riders get there. So I felt fast in that one, so hopefully they can do the same again and get another 3 points on the board. Thanks, Chris. Cheers.
Super to see Chris Harris winning a race there. Chris Holder there, he struggled in his last ride. Greg Hancock 4 points to his name after a good opening ride. He just picked up the 3rd place last time out. Just keeping an eye, you've got to keep an eye on conditions because it is quite tricky to get the bike perfectly set up. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how it develops. It could be really tight for the top 8.
A little bit extra track grading work going on really, Kelvin, because the dirt has gone so far out and they're going so wide already, aren't they? They're almost touching the fence, some of them, as they go that wide.
Well, in the last couple of races, yes, you were having to chase the dirt hard, and Harris was going wider and wider, and he was generating a lot of speed. There's Christian Everson there, just relaxed. He's won a race now. He'll be feeling a lot happier about things. Slightly difficult weekend with, you know, focusing on being at a different venue, and then suddenly here, 24 hours later, we got a race here. But it's a decent track. Not the greatest of racing so far. It's warming up, but conditions have played their part. I think the rain just before the beginning of the meeting may have played its part with that as well. They possibly didn't quite get exactly what they were looking for and had to stop. But yeah, just this bit, extra little bit of grading, and riders will be focusing on the next round of heats.
Track's nice and smooth, and we have seen from Lindgren and from Woffenden the cut up the inside in the early stages. They look who's gone wide, then they try the inside switch, and it's worked a treat, hasn't it?
Yeah, and for Harris as well, didn't he?
Yeah.
He pulled it off as well. Yeah, so Woffenden really had no option. He didn't make the jump from the outside, and just took that decision to switch to the inside, and riders are pushing hard in the first corner coming from the inside gate, so there's always going to be an opportunity there. But with it being such a big long back straight, Nigel, you sometimes can get swallowed up at the back of the straight, but Woofenden and Harris got enough momentum to not fall into that trap.
A lot of interested observers looking at the track work.
Hancock, Ash Holloway there, of course, the engine tuner based in Bydgoszcz, he's chatting and talking. And yeah, watering the outside of the track. Got to be careful about not putting too much water on the inside because it's really hard there. And if you water the track there, you could make it just into an ice rink where the bike literally is so unstable. So yeah, it's a fine line with the water.
Yeah, it is a permanent track here, of course. We do see temporary race surfaces in the GP, but this is a permanent track that stages regular Polish League Speedway, even though we're in Latvia. Kenneth Pierre, he's one of those riders who has had a bit of inconsistency so far this afternoon. He's with Chris Louis.
A great start to the meeting in Heat 2, a race win, but we're seeing so many riders winning races and then coming last. It's tough out there, isn't it?
Just what I did. Won my first one and run a last. I think I chose Saga pushed me a bit out in the last race, and if you're coming off last in the first corner, it's a bit tough. And get out of start and pick the right line, and I think if you're in front, everyone got good speed.
Ahead of tonight, 14th position, 39 points. Is this ground you can make up for the top 8?
Got nothing to lose. I'm just going for it, and many points as possible. I'm picking up too many last places, and if I'm winning, then if not, I'm last, and I need to be a bit more consistent. I got the experience, but season so far has been up and down. Had a bit of a break now with the World Cup, so I feel hungry now, and I'm just enjoying it. Just no last places.
Great stuff, thank you.
All right, thanks.
Yeah, it's been a difficult season for Kenneth Pierre on his return to the Grand Prix Series. It is tough. It's the strongest Speedway challenge for any rider, and he has found it difficult to get that consistency. We know he can be really fast, but he's also had a lot of injuries that have held him back, and I do think at times that hasn't done him any favours at all. Andrei Lebedev's now preparing himself for the next race.
He was putting his race jacket on the wrong way round there. Somebody needs to have a word.
Hopefully somebody recognises that.
He's not used to riding in the Grand Prix.
Will be a little bit of a schoolboy error.
That's it. There you go, son. Well done.
Swap it round, mate.
Yeah, that's better.
Good stuff. Yeah, you won't look quite so silly coming out for your next ride. Woofenden up against Stevenson as well. It's a tough race, really tough race. Right, this is quite an extended grading period, so we've got water now going on.
This is almost like a normal interval after the interval we normally have after Heat 12.
They're concerned about the track, aren't they? They don't want to get it away. They don't want it to become a dust bowl, so they're spending a little bit of extra time.
A consequence of an afternoon meeting, Kelf, rather than an evening meeting.
Indeed. And Tony Olsen, the race director, will be careful and concerned about the track not becoming too wet. They're going to water the inside of the first corner. He stopped it now in the middle of the track. He stopped it. That might just be in the nick of time, because that could prove to be quite tricky if he had gone all the way around the inside. So yeah, a water truck now backing up and disappearing off the track, and we should be on with the action.
Expert track watering commentary from Kelvin Tatum there.
Special, that one.
Perfect analysis.
Fantastic.
So yeah, we prepare for heat number, well done. Heat number 9. Ty Woofenden, the reigning champion, who now has a 3-point lead, 2-point lead. I do apologise. And a reminder, Darcy Ward unable to ride today. He does have that knee problem, but he's not riding today because he has failed an alcohol test. That is according to the FIM.
Yes. Very disappointing for Darcy,
yeah.
And everybody concerned, because he's such a spectacular rider. He's in a strong position in the World Championship, and a mistake, which one that he's going to be awfully unhappy about. But
I'm sad about it, because we love watching him race, don't we?
He's such a talent. So, and he rode brilliantly here last year. He was an entertainer, that's for certain. Finished second. But he's not out there. But that man is the world champion. He looked much more convincing in his last ride. So he'll be hoping to build on that. He goes from the inside gate. Interesting to see what decision he makes as he rushes into that first corner, whether he moves up into the middle of the track or he hugs the white line all the way round.
Chris Holder off the outside gate, trailed in last in his previous race, and Chris will be looking for a top 8 spot. I said actually on a website piece I did with British Eurosport last weekend, or a couple of days ago I should say, that I think really now Chris has got to focus on getting through the last few weeks of the season safely and in the top 8. Kelvin, would you agree?
Absolutely. He has had some awful injuries once again this year, unfortunate neck and wrist injuries he's sustained. He's had operation to the wrist, and then he had another accident last Tuesday in the Swedish League where he had to withdraw from the meeting. But yeah, he's got to work really hard just to make sure he secures his Grand Prix future.
Here we go then, heat number 9. Ty Woffenden quite clearly needs some sort of medical attention with his mechanics. And it has been quite a while since heat number 8, but as we say, there are 1 or 2 concerns about track preparation. When you have a daytime meeting, it does make it harder to keep the dust down.
Change of bikes maybe here, Nigel. He's coming out with the second bike, yeah. Whether that was the second bike and he's now to the practice start and swapping to a new one. That looks like a clean bike to me. Maybe just taking the opportunity to give it a run here, even though he did win his previous race. That's quite a brave move.
Can tell you as well, the brollies are going up. There is more rain coming down just after they've watered the track. Here we go, heat number 9 coming up. Heat number 9, Woffenden switching back to his original bike. He's off the inside gate in red. Andrzej Lebedev goes off gate number 2. He's really in the thick of the action today. Niels Christian Iversen off gate number 3, and going off the outside is Chris Holder. There is rain coming down here now in Daugavpils just after they've watered the track. It's one of those days, I think, really, where it's patchy rain and intermittent hot sunny spells as well. Difficult for track preparation, really.
It is, and they've watered the track, but it's not raining too hard, so it shouldn't make too much of an effect. Fingers crossed it doesn't anyway, because this is a terrific lineup here we've got for heat number 9. Woffenden swapping bikes twice there. Tried his spare bike and then didn't fancy it and went back to his original one. He's out of gate 1. Andrzej Lebedev's out of gate 2. Iversen impressive last time as well. He comes out of gate 3, and gate 3's been tough so far this afternoon.
Here we go then. Heat number 9 of the Ria Tumu Bank FIM Latvian Speedway Grand Prix. Oh. And taped rise, and it's a good one from Holder from the outside. He's swept across Ty Woffenden. Lebedev now comes up the inside, and now Iversen around the outside of Woffenden, who's been squeezed to the back. The lead here is with Chris Holder. Second place in white here is Niels Christian Iversen. Lebedev third, and Woffenden now has come through to pass the Latvian into third place.
Yeah, what a start from Chris Holder from the outside. Disappointed last time, but it's tight there with Woffenden getting up right alongside Niels Christian Iversen, and Lebedev is not out of it. He's charging hard, although he's in 4th place. Holder's away. He's got a nice little comfort zone. The world champion's into 3rd place with Lebedev all over him in 4th. That's not over now. Woffenden locks up. Lebedev up the inside. Still 3rd place away. Neck and neck going into turns 3 and 4 late on in the race. Good action for 3rd place, but Holder, he's got this race.
Yep, 1 lap to go. It's Chris Holder in yellow, bouncing back from his previous disappointment. Niels Christian Iversen holds 2nd spot right now. Woffenden will never have had to work harder for 1 single point. He's been pushed by Lebedev every step of the way, but Chris Holder of Australia, fantastic ride from him in the yellow helmet colour. Niels Christian Iversen was 2nd, Ty Woffenden 3rd, and Andrzej Lebedev at the back. Here at the Locomotive Stadium, it's fast, it's furious, and Chris Holder back in business with a fantastic win there to put him onto 5 points from 3 rides. Here's the result of heat number 9 then. It is a win for Chris Holder. Niels Christian Iversen was 2nd, 3rd Ty Woffenden of Great Britain, and trailing at the back Andrzej Lebedev, the wild card for Latvia. Iversen leads on 5, Kasprzak's 5, Holder's 5, and Podzuk's on 5 as well, but Holder will feel a lot happier with life now.
And so he should. That was a great effort from Chris, because he'd struggled in his previous ride, as a lot of riders have so far this afternoon. They've found consistency really difficult, but he's just there. The bike dug in. Woffenden snaked initially when he dropped the clutch and gets swallowed up in that first corner. Lebedev's there. Look at the move from Iversen. That's a brave move down the back straight on the opening lap for the Danish rider, then to get himself into 2nd place. Holder's away. He's loving it out in front. A real tussle for 3rd place with the world champion early on here getting the better of the Latvian, Lebedev's. But Lebedev's then shows good resolve here. Battles really hard and gets himself back into 3rd place when the world champion just made half a mistake when he locked the bike, killed his momentum, but tie, as you rightly said, Nigel, you had to work really hard to then grab that third place back. Every point vital, but that man celebrating in style, that was a really useful win.
Holder on 5, Everson on 5. There's a host of riders dropping points here, there and everywhere. It is such an unpredictable GP here this afternoon at the Locomotive Stadium. The rain continuing to fall, and that will have an impact on how riders prepare for a race, I'm sure.
You
now
might have to start chasing the dirt. The inside of the track could get really greasy.
The rain's easing now, though, thank goodness, as we build up to Heat 10, and Greg Hancock has just seen his world title rival, Ty Woofenden. They're friends and rivals at the same time, and he's off the outside gate. Chris Harris off the inside with Troy Batchelor off 2. Cass Podzooks, what a story this fella's been so far.
Yeah.
He's off gate 3, and Greg Hancock going off the outside in yellow. 4 points to his name so far, but it's a long way to that first turn from gate 4. If anybody can get there, Hancock can get there.
Yeah, well, Holder did it in fine style in the previous race, so the outside of the track is working a treat, and once you get the front, you get so much momentum as you go down the back straight. You can win the race really early doors, and you just know that Greg Hancock will be aware of that. Podzooks coming out of gate 3, it's tough from there, but he's had a fine meeting so far, and Harris on the inside was a good winner last time. Let's hope he can build on that now and really enjoy himself here today.
2 right, heat number 10. Halfway stage of the qualifying races here, and it's a good start from the man in blue, Troy Batchelor, as the inconsistency of this GP continues, and Hancock comes through. Where on earth has Greg Hancock found that from? Fabulous. He has just gone through the opposition as though they weren't there, making it look all too easy. Greg Hancock with the lead. Batchelor is in second place. Third in white here is Cass Podzooks with Harris at the back, but that was masterful from Greg Hancock.
What a first corner from the American. He didn't make the start. He was looking for racing room as he got to the first corner, and he threaded his way through and got himself to the front. It was a fabulous first turn from the American. He's looking good out in front. Batchelor riding well for second place. Podzooks once again amongst the points. He'll be chuffed to bits with that. Disappointment for Harris. He's tailed off. Such a shame after winning his previous ride. I think he may have some sort of mechanical issue, but Hancock out in front, a lap to go. Winning races for fun once again.
Might not be mechanical for Harris. He said it's a thumb problem and that he's worrying about it after the racing's finished, but he's running out of steam.
I think that's a mechanical
Could be a puncture even, but yeah, Greg Hancock is going to come round and take that checkered flag. Greg Hancock is the winner. Second place in blue is Troy Batchelor from Australia. Third in white is Cass Podzooks. But for Greg Hancock, what a fantastic effort that was in the early stages. Harris does complete the race, whether it be mechanical or fitness-wise.
I think it's mechanical. He was looking at the bike on the end of the race, Nige. Well, Hancock, 2 race wins to his name, moves sweetly onto 7 points. It's a great ride from him, and what a first corner from the American.
Yeah, and second place there went to Troy Batchelor. He got the best start of all 4 of them, really, and made it look oh so easy, didn't he? And this is what it means now. Hancock is the leader. Podzooks is on 6.
Good effort.
I wouldn't have thought that. Podzooks in for Darcy Ward, and on 6 points so far. Great stuff from him. But Greg Hancock, the standout rider now, with 2 wins from 3 rides.
Yeah, it was a great effort, and when we see it again in the first corner, it really was a masterclass to know what to do. He was looking for racing room, and he was able just to thread himself through, and he trusted the performance of the bike. We see it again. Batchelor makes a really good effort initially from gate 2 with Podzooks there in the way, and that makes the decision for Hancock to switch to the inside, and it just works a treat because the door opens. It's not very wide, but he pounces when he needs to. Batchelor then battles hard on the inside of the track early on and puts the American Hancock under pressure early doors, but once Greg then settles out in front, really has no danger at all. Batchelor there just momentarily losing control and bouncing off the safety fence down the straight. But yes, Greg Hancock, that's a terrific effort from him. 2 race wins to his name, and you know, he'll be delighted with the 7 points to his name.
So heat number 11 coming up. Pierre, Lindgren, Smolinski and Jonsson is the lineup then. Greg Hancock, the man of the moment. So, yep, heat number 11 coming up. It's been an unpredictable GP so far. The rain has stopped now and we have glorious sunshine here. Just take a look across the grid then. Off the inside is Kenneth Pierre in red. Gate number 2 in blue is Freddie Lindgren of Sweden. Martin Smolinski off 3. And Jonsson going off the outside, and Jonsson yet to score a point.
Desperate afternoon for Andreas Jonsson. Really has found it tough out there. And Freddie Lindgren also battling very hard for his points. Can Pierre now find the speed he had in his opening race, where he was very impressive? And Smolinski's been battling really hard. Got to say, 3 points from 2 rides. He's in amongst it with riders dropping points. This is a crucial stage of the meeting.
Certainly is. Top 8 go through to the semi-finals then. Here we go into that first turn. Pierre jet propelled once again. Lindgren with a switch up the inside. Round the outside is Smolinski. Jonsson coming through into second. They're all bunched up down the back straight. Oh! Smolinski just about avoids a collision there. Lindgren with the lead now, and he goes wide. Causes all sorts of traffic behind him. And now coming through is Andreas Jonsson in yellow with Pierre third. Smolinski at the back. This is spectacular Speedway.
Yeah, that was a terrific opening lap with Freddie Lindgren. Look at Pierre now getting up the inside of Andreas Jonsson, chasing the dirt right out by the air fence as they battle their way through there. Bottom corner, Lindgren, Jonsson desperate for points. The two Swedes have had a tough time in the Grand Prix series this year, but they're really charging hard out in front, first and second. Pierre back in third, the German out the back, but Freddie Lindgren, this is a good performance from him. Racing into the last lap, Andreas Jonsson desperately hunting him down.
Yeah, the Swedes looking for a strong finish to the GP campaign. Whoa! Remember, we're in Stockholm later this year, and wheel to wheel down the back straight.
Brilliant!
Jonsson inside, Lindgren outside. Lindgren's going to try the switch. This is great Speedway down to the line. Lindgren gets there.
What a lap of Speedway that was at the end of the race. Fantastic action between the two Swedes, swapping places for the lead. Super effort from Andreas Jonsson. You've got to give him a lot of credit. He played his part in the action at the later stages. Freddie Lindgren just hanging on. Good Speedway race that. Riders not enjoying the best time in the GP series, but showing tremendous resolve there, not throwing the towel in, battling for every point.
That was a smashing race, wasn't it?
Yeah,
really
race of the
enjoyable.
day. Race of the day. Not the night.
Not the night, the day, yeah. Lindgren Jonsson is the finishing order there. And Lindgren moves on to 6 points now. Kenneth Pierre with 4 points to his name now with that third place. Smolinski at the back, but that was great Speedway. And Freddie Lindgren with a race win under his belt. He's got it all on to get into the top 8 and secure his spot for next year, Freddie Lindgren, but this was great Speedway.
It was really entertaining. It was a lot of passing. Freddie Lindgren and Jonsson round the inside initially when Pierre had made the move early doors away from the tape. Smolinski gets squeezed out. Look at this, he just runs out of racing room. He just has to come off the throttle and desperately trying to avoid the back wheels of Pierre as they go down the back straight. Tough racing here early doors. Andreas Jonsson then squeezing Pierre up and getting the better of the Danish rider as they start the second lap. Freddie Lindgren then comes under all sorts of pressure. Andreas Jonsson, desperate afternoon of Speedway for him so far. And he then gets the better. He does get up the inside. This was a good effort from Andreas Jonsson, but couldn't quite make it stick. But then Lindgren reading that move and chopping back to the inside, and he hangs on for a win. But yeah, it was really entertaining stuff, and he's having a decent afternoon of Speedway, Freddie Lindgren.
It was a big win for him, wasn't it? To move on to 6 points now and give him a great chance of the semi-finals. Jonsson deserves credit. It was a great race there, great Speedway, but Jonsson ultimately flattering to deceive once again in the GP this season.
Yeah, so disappointing. Just a few short years ago, he was world number 2. And now he is struggling. He's way outside the top 8 and a lot of hard graft if he wants to secure his Speedway Grand Prix future. He's going to have to come up with some miraculous displays, and at the moment, it's just not quite happening for him. Riders preparing themselves, a little bit of work going on to the air fence. That's why we've got the slight delay, but meeting's beginning to build up. You just sense with the pressure of the third round of heats, everybody dropping points. It's game on, really are working hard. It will be interesting, Nige, how many points you're going to need to make the top 8 here to make the semi-finals.
Could be one of those where you make it on 7.
Yes, it could well be, so you can never throw the towel in here. And with a rider like Nicky Pedersen coming out off gate 4, you know he's going to be involved, that's for sure.
This will be some race now, heat number 12, I'm sure about that. Hampel, Zagar, Kasperzak and Pedersen. Nicky Pedersen's fitness trainer there watching on down in the pits area. Kasperzak, who opened up with that fantastic ride, of course, but was involved in a nasty spill as well. And
Zagar's a rider that needs to pick up the form.
Yeah,
he has struggled so far, just the 3 points. A win here would do him the world of good. It would put him right into the picture for the top 8. Hampel didn't score last time out, so he'll be looking to try and build on his opening ride. He comes from the inside, but Kasperzak looks strong. Yeah, competitive racing. Really competitive racing.
Yep, should be good this one then. Heat number 12 coming up. Pedersen off the outside gate on 4 points right now. Not really in contention for the World Championship at this stage, and of course we are at the stage of the season where rounds are starting to run out. There's only 4 remaining after this. We go to Gorzów, we've got a Voyens in Denmark, Stockholm in Sweden, and we round it all off at Torun in Poland as well in October. Will it go down to the semi-finals and the final of Torun to decide the World Champion for 2014? What a night that would be at the Torun Speedway Stadium. What a
fabulous stadium it is as well, and it could very well go down to the wire with Hancock and Woofenden head-to-head at this stage with 5 rounds to go. Wouldn't be surprised at all.
But for now, we focus on Heat 12. Here in Latvia, Hampel off the inside, Zagar off gate number 2, Kasperzak gate 3 in white, Nicky Pedersen off the outside. You just cannot predict a winner of this heat, can you?
No, with the way the meeting has gone, it very is unpredictable. Exactly that. Kasperzak has ridden nicely for his points, and there's no question he looks like he's got a lot of speed, and he had that heavy fall earlier on. That man there, Pedersen, coming from the outside, has had 2 solid rides for the 2nd place, and when you consider he was all out of shape in the 2nd ride, right up against the air fence, he did a great job to get himself into 2nd place. But Zagar coming out of gate 2, if he wins this race, all of a sudden he turns his afternoon right round.
Yep, 3 points so far for him, and heat number 12 it is. After this heat, every rider will have completed 3 rides here. Here we go, heat number 12. Tape tries, who's going to hit that first turn? It's very tight, but Hampel has made a good start. Now around the outside comes Nicky Pedersen. They're wheel to wheel down the back straight. Nicky Pedersen simply stunning down the back straight. He's got nerves of steel. Kasperzak holds 2nd, Hampel 3rd, and the man at the back right now is Mate Zagar, but he comes through into 3rd. It's tough racing out there, and Kasperzak right up the back wheel of Nicky Pedersen down that back straight.
Fabulous opening lap there. Pedersen showing tremendous bravery to get to the front. Kasperzak all over the back of Pedersen, has to slow. Zagar's right there, can't take advantage of that, but Pedersen, you've got to say, awfully brave with Hampel out the back. A disappointing ride for the Polish rider who looked really good in his opening ride. Pedersen looking like he's stamping his authority on this race now. 4 points coming into this, 7 points if he can hang on. Good ride from Pedersen.
Looking like a semi-final for Nicky Pedersen then. This is his 3rd ride of 5 to get into the top 8. 3 times world champion, super fit, super professional, tough and hard, but very, very determined. And it's going to be a race win for Nicky Pedersen in yellow. Christoph Kasperzak 2nd, 3rd in blue was Mate Zagar, but Jarek Hampel, 3 points to his name this afternoon for Jarek Hampel. That's a win and 2 last places. He is enigmatic today. But what a ride from Nicky Pedersen. I'll tell you what, they got so close down the back straight.
Well, it was 4 abreast as they came out of the 1st corner on the opening lap, and it was Pedersen. There was no way he was going to shut the throttle, was it? He was absolutely determined to get to the front, and so it proved. Excellent ride from Pedersen.
Yeah, there's the finishing order, and it does mean overall now we have 3 riders on 7 points. Greg Hancock, Nicky Pedersen, and Christoph Kasperzak all chasing the top 8 and a place in...
Yeah, this was an impressive ride from Nicky Pedersen. He'll be pleased with this, making his way back into his pit box. And Tom P. Madsen, John Jorgensen, the team working in good harmony this afternoon. The tapes are up, and it's Hampel who makes the start initially, but he fails to score here, gets himself in no man's land in the 1st corner. He's not inside, he's not outside. 4 abreast, and Pedersen comes charging through, hits the front again from the start. Desperately working the bike, but this is a great move from Pedersen. Pedersen there just using that slingshot by chopping through the traffic and just gets that extra little bit of speed to get himself to the front. Jarek Hampel fades here. He'll be really disappointed with this, with Zagar now relegating the pole to the 4th place. But Pedersen, 7 points to his name. He's enjoying a good Speedway Grand Prix. Last couple, he hasn't made the semi-finals, but he means business here this afternoon.
This afternoon, he does.
This afternoon.
Yeah, lovely. And Nicky Pedersen riding superbly there, but there really has been some tough, harsh racing out there here in Daugavpils, the Latvian Speedway Grand Prix. Tumu Bank Latvian FIM Speedway Grand Prix. The track is baking hot now, so they are going to do a lot of track grading work to bring the track back towards the inside, the dirt back to the inside, and water all around the track surface. Now, we can hear from Darcy Ward. Great that he's going to talk to us after the unfortunate circumstances. He's speaking to Chris Louis now.
Well, Darcy, ahead of this evening, chasing a championship, and unfortunately not able to ride today. Just can you explain why?
Yeah, I got some bad news yesterday, and you know, I was having dinner and had a couple of drinks. Obviously, one too many, and you know, it's disappointing, only marginally. But you know, I wasn't hydrated. You know, we've had a long week here in Riga, and you know, didn't eat properly and wasn't hydrated, unfortunately.
Obviously, as you say, you had bad family news. There can never be an excuse with professional sportsmen out there, but it is a big disappointment. You're going to drop a lot of points today.
Yeah, for sure. It's you know, worst day of my life. So yeah, it will never happen again. And you know, should have hydrated. And it was like you said, it was only marginally, and I'm having a bad time at the moment. But yeah, it is what it is.
We love watching Darcy Ward race out there. There's nothing better. Promise your fans that you're going to be back. Yeah, for sure. Of course, I'll be back. And obviously, I'm sorry to the sport and all the fans. So yeah. It took a brave man to walk up and face the cameras. Thanks for being honest with us, Darcy.
Right, thanks.
Great interview, Darcy Ward. Very unfortunate. Great interview indeed with Chris Louis there. No excuses. No excuses. Yes, quite right too. But I think it's fair to say that we have to respect Darcy Ward for speaking to us. There's many people in other sports that when things don't quite go their way, they will ignore the cameras and the microphones, but Darcy has fronted up today. He's made a mistake, not making excuses and just admitting he's got it wrong and didn't eat properly and had one too many. So we do thank Darcy for speaking to us. What the ramifications are of today's alcohol test remain to be seen. There are 2 weeks now between now and Gorzów and the next round of the World Championship. In a couple of weeks' time in Gorzów in Poland, and that is round number 9 of the World Championship. And obviously we want all the top riders there, but I'm sure Darcy knows that he has to be prepared to face the music after what has happened here today.
Difficult, isn't it? It's difficult to really understand it. Very disappointing.
Greg Hancock is down in the pits with Chris.
Well, Greg, the word today is consistency or inconsistency. Nobody can really work the track out there.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, the track is changing, like we said before. Every heat, it's drying up, and they're trying to keep the water in. But it's a sunny day, the wind's blowing, and yeah, makes it a little more interesting.
And a masterful first turn in your last one to pick up all 3 points. Absolutely fantastic stuff.
Oh, thanks. I just, yeah, you know, sometimes plan B, you got to make it happen fast, and it worked that time. So I'd rather go with plan A, though.
Do you think track conditions will settle down now? Will we see an inside line perhaps coming to work better?
It feels like it's going that way. Sooner or later, that dirt's getting pretty far out now, and they're doing a good job to keep it back down. But I think by the end of the night, we're going to be chasing the curb again.
Thanks, Greg.
Thank you.
Well, he's riding nicely this afternoon. 2 wins to his name, 7 points. And he'll be satisfied with his work so far. And when you've got the ability to make the starts that he can, he always has that in his locker. It can dig you out of trouble, but it's not in trouble here this afternoon, Greg Hancock. He's going great guns.
Well, Freddie Lindgren's been in the thick of the action. It was a big win last time out. He's with Chris.
Freddie, it's been a tough race night out there, but you've improved with every race, winning your last one.
Yeah, I feel okay. It's always tough here in Daugavpils. It's a tough track to come to, but my target was 6 points after the first 3 heats. I was on the outside gates to start with, and that's always tough. But a good heat win, and I got 2 gate 1 coming up, so I hope I can do something with that.
We were expecting to race in Riga. We didn't do that. We're here in Daugavpils, no practice. How much has that unsettled the riders, do you think?
Obviously, it's a different story, but everyone is the same boat. It's the same for everyone. So, in the end of the day, it's about to go out there and race your bike, and that's what we're doing.
Thanks, Freddie.
Thank you.
Yeah, it was interesting. He said he wanted 6 points at this stage of the afternoon, and he's got that. It was a good, impressive ride he had. It was a terrific tussle he had with Andreas Johnson, but he came out on top. Good stuff from Nicky Pedersen. This is encouraging for him. He's had a difficult run in the Grand Prix just before the Speedway World Cup, but won the Speedway World Cup, of course, in Poland. First time Poland have been beaten in the Speedway Cup in their own backyard, and Nicky Pedersen was very much instrumental in that victory. He rode very well in the middle of the meeting. Track preparation going on, and water truck's out again, Nige. Yeah, we like the water truck, don't we?
Yeah.
It's quite impressive. And he's banging in a few laps. He's going the wrong way. He's going clockwise, not anti-clockwise, which I'm a little concerned. And the tractors are going anti-clockwise.
Oh my goodness!
Could be a bit of a moment here. There he is.
Tractor and the water car going close there.
Oh, very close.
As we see Lebedev watching on.
It was actually quite exciting.
Yeah, it was for a minute, yeah. But yeah, they are having to keep the dust under control, and Greg Hancock saying how they're trying to keep the dirt back towards the white line.
I'm not so sure. I think the inside might work in the first corner, but I sense that riders are going to have to keep chasing the dirt, and then after 4 races they can pull it back. So I may be proven wrong, but my instinct is that they'll want to chase the dirt to get that momentum. I think Ingram will be pleased with his work. It's encouraging for him.
Well, Ty Woffenden now is ready to speak to Chris Louis.
Yeah, Ty, it's been such a scrap out there. This track is throwing up so many different racing lines, and a scrap for the championship as well.
Yeah, for sure. You know, everyone knew that was coming, but yeah, just finding it hard to find the setup. I'm going to jump on my other bike and see if I can get that one going and hopefully score some points.
We saw you in one of your previous races, jumping off one bike, getting back on the other. I mean, the only thing you can really learn is how they're coming off the start. I guess that is all important.
Yeah, that's it, man. I'm not, you know, haven't really made a decent start all night, so I jumped on my spare bike and, you know, it felt good, but I haven't rode that since like the middle of last year. So it's kind of like it's completely different engine, different characteristics, but I've got to give it a crack. So.
Perhaps the fact that we thought we were racing at one track, we're now at a different track, has that thrown up problems for the riders?
Oh yeah, it's made it a little bit difficult, but you know, it's just another day's racing. Instead of going to Poland to race, we get to stay in Latvia, so it's probably a bit easier.
Great stuff, thanks Ty.
Thanks.
Interesting that he said that he hasn't ridden this engine since last year. I do know that he sort of had a love affair with one particular engine that he had when he turned his fortunes around in Finland. And yeah, clearly not quite getting the bike to go to the first corner as he wanted. When he's hit the front, he won the race actually very comfortably, but in the other two rides, the other side of it, he's just got 1 point from those two. So 4 points for the world champion after 3 rides. He'll be looking to build on that now. He needs to if he wants to make the semi-finals.
Well, the track preparation is done. The water cart and the tractors are now off the track. So I'm not quite sure why we're just waiting for the resumption here. But anyway, the riders are getting set for heat number 13, and Nicky Pedersen on 7 points. Niels Christian Iversen is off the outside gate. He's on 5, so he's still got a bit of work to do. And these are the World Championship standings, level, Woffenden and Hancock. And wouldn't it be great if that was the case going into Torren and round number 12?
Well, it would be the fairy tale, of course, for everybody concerned. Not Ty Woffenden and Greg Hancock, because they want to be a nice cushy lead going into the last round, but for the public and the neutrals, it will be a fantastic head-to-head battle if it was to go right down to the last round, round 12. Yeah, time will tell. And there's no reason why it can't, but you just sense that Hancock's in a little bit better form here than Woffenden. Woffenden, we're keeping his fingers crossed with his second bike. It's more competitive.
Yeah, I think Hancock, the advantage he's got is that he's happier with his setup than Woffenden is. We just heard them both speaking there, and I think Greg is more at ease with the setup than Ty Woffenden is with his.
Yes, that is right, and Greg has proven to us time and time again that he can make starts when he needs one. And yeah, he's in that driving seat. He's clearly very comfortable with his equipment. Chris Harris here just having a bike change. Just must have been something wrong with the bike in the last race, because he just lost speed completely, and it would have been disappointing having won the previous ride. But he's now made his choice and he's making his way to the tapes.
Here we go then, the resumption of the Latvian GP. It's heat 13 and it's on the way. Here we go with heat 13. Nicky Pedersen goes off the inside in red, 7 points to his name. Chris Harris off 2, Andreas Jonsson off 3. Niels Christian Iversen going off the outside gate. 3 of these 4 riders have won races here this afternoon. Nicky Pedersen, 2 race wins under his belt. You can never write that man off. He is a truly inspirational rider. 1 race win, 2 second places under his belt. Mickey Pedersen doing a great job on a consistent basis.
He is indeed. He's battling really hard this afternoon, Nigel, and he started with 2 impressive second places, particularly the second one. It was bouncing off the fence in the first corner, and he battled his way through to the front, and then he did another really hard charging move early in the race to win his 3rd outing. He's on the inside. You know that he's going to be involved. Niels Christian Iversen could be a major threat. He's coming from the outside.
Here we go then, heat number 13. The Latvian GP about to get on the way again, and surely that was unsatisfactory at the start there. There was movement. Niels Christian Iversen has gone down, and the race continues. Iversen is going to stay down, and the red lights are on. There was movement at the start there, for sure.
There was movement at the start, but something slightly odd happened to Iversen. I don't know if he felt that he was being pushed, or he felt that he was certainly, there was contact without question, but see it again. He's coming from the outside. Pedersen's made a good start from the inside. He's coming across. He's hit Harris there, and he's lost momentum. It's almost like power, the chain, or maybe the chain had come off, and then he actually slips off the bike. Have a look. Yeah, there's contact at the back. Yeah, the chain's come off. Jammed back. He's fortunate. He's fortunate because he was not under power when he went down.
Well, all 4 riders back is the verdict. I'd like to see an angle across the grid.
He's coming across
4 riders.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because there was movement before the tapes went up.
But that's the key thing there. When that contact with the back of the bike, you can see he hasn't got power. The bike's stopping with the back wheel locked. The boys are actually pushing the bike off the track as we speak. I can see it right in front of the commentary position here. And the bike is actually solid. They're actually having to push it down the track. And you can see that the bike there, you can see the back tyre, back wheel is locked. So I think Iversen may get
a long way back to the pits for those boys pushing that bike.
They've already run out of steam.
Yeah, they've had to have a breather now already. There you go. Get one of the rakes. Get one of the rakes from the track staff. That helps, doesn't it?
That's very awkward. Yeah, the rake actually is a good shout. But no, a little bit fortunate.
You can't beat good old-fashioned track rakes to get a bike off when the back wheel's locked.
Track raiders out there, get them the rakers. Used to see them standing on the inside of the tracks, didn't you, all the time? But Iversen, a little bit unfortunate, didn't get the start he wanted, didn't get the drop, wasn't able to get across. Heavy contact with Harris, who was no malicious intent there from him.
You know what? Ty Woffenden's mechanic Jacko is now helping get the bike off the track. They're all mucking in together here.
Saw it there. There was quite a tough compact there with Harris as he came across, but he wasn't far enough in front. That was the problem for Iversen. And he comes across here. He's hoping he can get over the top of Harris, but he isn't quite there. The contact, the chain off. I'll tell you what, Jonsson does remarkably well not to just absolutely clean him up. He can't believe it, but I think actually in hindsight, he's a touch fortunate.
So here we see it across the grid. Was every rider sat still? Oh,
difficult to see with the head on. It's when you see from the side angle, it's better, but because the Gardell, the referees made this decision, they're all going to get a second chance.
Yep. Simple decision, all 4 riders back, but the wait now is for how long it will take for Niels Christian Iversen's machine to be ready.
Well, they'll have to make a decision whether they can repair that bike and get it back out on track, or he'll have to go with the spare bike. The rear chain is completely locked in there, and the chain may well be damaged as well, and it might be a bit tricky to actually run that chain, particularly if it's twisted it. Yeah, they're going to have to change the rear chain as well.
So is there time for that to happen?
Well, Tony Olsen's the man in control of this. He will give them a little bit of extra time because there was that problem, but it's risky on such a fast track. If the chain is twisted and damaged, there you see Tony Olsen just inquiring exactly how long they're going to take, and he will monitor this and give him every chance.
Do you know what I like about this? We've just seen one of Greg Hancock's pit crew having a look there as well. We saw one of Ty Woffenden's pit crew, Jacko, helping out, get the bike off the track. Bit of camaraderie amongst the mechanics and the team helpers there to help each other almost.
Yes, it is, and that's a great sign. You can see the spirit in the camp, furious work. He doesn't want to change bikes, clearly. He's not happy. He wants to stay on that one. He may be forced, if he runs out of time, he may be forced to go on the spare bike here. Tony Olsen, it'll be interesting to see how generous he is with the time, but they're having to work very hard.
Well, Tony Olsen is putting the pressure on them here. Make a decision, boys. Go with this or go with a spare bike.
Really, that looks like he ought to jump on the spare bike.
Yeah. Yeah. I know if you were a race director, you'd just say, get on with it. Get on the other bike.
No, I'd give them all the time in the world, Nigel. You know that. And I'd be saying, don't panic, boys. You've got all the time. But you can see he's having problems with the chain there. Thanks, mate.
Yeah.
But it's the spare bike for Iversen. I think that's the only option.
AJ watching on. Niels, who has those 5 points to his name, but he's third in the world right now, Niels Christian Iversen, and with no Darcy Ward today, real opportunity to kick on.
Yes, he should be able to really secure that third spot and maybe just be able to start putting pressure on the top two. He'll be desperate to do that, and this is a race where he needs to keep building. 94 points each for Woffinden and Hancock. Woffinden, though, a little bit out of sorts here this afternoon. He'll be looking to improve in his next two rides. He's only got 4 points from his first 3. Iversen 79. Nicky Pedersen now moving up into 4th place. So Pedersen is charging hard and getting himself right back into the thick of things.
Certainly is. And Alex Johnson and his pit crew as well hard at work.
Yeah, it's quite sure what was going on with Andreas Johnson. We know with Iversen now the decision is made. Second bike. Got to go with that one. He'll be hoping that that one runs as good as the first one. Not ideal this, but he should know the equipment pretty well. They bring pretty much the same type of equipment to each Grand Prix, so it's just choosing after practice generally which one they want to start on. Of course today no practice, straight into the thick of the action.
All the time now, the track is baking under the hot sun this afternoon here in Down Hills. The 2 minutes time allowance is now on. I think Tony Olsen, to be fair to him, I think he gave them enough time there, didn't he, Colin, to make that decision.
You know, we saw the pictures there. They were struggling with the chain. It didn't look like it was going to be an easy fix. And it's really the right decision has been made. It'd be silly to go out on a bike where the chain could fall off and it cost you any opportunity. So, yeah, he's on a bike that's well prepared. Nothing wrong with it. Fingers crossed it goes as good as the first one.
Number 13 it is then, the restart coming up here at the rear two of the back FIM Latvia Speedway Grand Prix. And an afternoon where there's been points dropped by every single rider. Greg Hancock, the only man so far to have a couple of race wins under his belt. 7 points out of a possible 9 for Hancock. Beaten by Woffinden. 13 coming up now, and still 1 or 2 last-minute pieces of work needed.
Yeah, the chain just slackens off and they just check to make sure that's okay. And you've got to be patient. Pedersen there is enjoying a good afternoon. Just having a look at the clutch. I think they may have just adjusted the clutch a little bit just to get the right feel for him, but now we should be back to tapes.
We are indeed with Nicky Pedersen off the inside. Chris Harris going off gate number 2 in blue. Andreas Johnson gate 3 in white, and off the outside Niels Christian Iversen. So big opportunity for Iversen today with no Darcy Ward. Can he get some more points on the board? He'll be desperate in his last 2 rides to kick on and get a place in the semi-finals and extend his interest in the Latvian Speedway Grand Prix. Nicky Pedersen's pit crew were watching on there. Quite a vast array of people in Nicky Pedersen's pits.
He's got an entourage now.
Yeah.
He's got about 7 people here with him, so it's quite an amazing effort from them, but it's working here this afternoon. Can he build on those 7 points? He's got gate 1.
Here we go, heat number 13. Second time of asking here in Latvia. Takes right, and it's a clean getaway from Nicky Pedersen off the inside gate. That is as smooth as you like. Harris second, but Iversen now coming around, and they're all bunched up down the back straight, but Iversen just gets the drop into second place. Chris Harris of Great Britain is third. Andreas Johnson is at the back right now, but Nicky Pedersen is kicking on and looking absolutely smooth as you like.
Fabulous start from Pedersen from the inside there. Niels Christian Iversen on the spare bike hustled his way into second place, and he's now killed the momentum of Harris, who's dropped away. There's a little bit of a comfort zone, but Iversen now is looking like he's charging at Pedersen. They go into the third lap now. It's a good effort from Iversen. Pedersen now beginning to have to ride that little bit harder. AJ, Andreas Johnson disappointing out the back, but the 2 Danish riders are dominating this race.
Oh, and Jonsson's going so wide, trying to get the drive and kisses the air fence there. And now Jonsson's come through into third as Harris tries to return the compliment. But Nicky Pedersen now with Iversen all over him, but Pedersen's got the speed, Pedersen's got the drive. It's been one big determined effort by Iversen, but in the battle of the Danes, Nicky Pedersen wins the race and moves into double figures here with a 10-point haul. And Niels Christian Iversen threw absolutely everything at him there, and it didn't quite work out for him. Johnson getting the better of Harris. It was tough work there, but Nicky Pedersen has worked hard for his points here this afternoon, Kelvin.
Yeah, he's earning his money, that's for sure. He's really hustling that bike. He looked good. He came under a lot of pressure, but remained composed and rode a strong race out in front. He's now got 2 race wins and moves on to 10 points. Good stuff. He's in the semis.
Yeah, Pedersen, Iversen, Jonsson and Harris. That's second place for Iversen, by the way. Puts him on to 7. He can almost feel the semi-finals now. 7 may well be enough.
Could be, couldn't it today? It's with all the yo-yoing with the inconsistency. Good ride there. Harris again, mechanical issues, disappointment. So disappointing after riding so well early on when he won that race. It just hasn't worked out for him in the subsequent races. That man though, 2 second places, 2 wins. And this is why he makes an absolutely perfect start. Bike brilliant to the first corner. He is comfortably in front as they hit the first turn. Allows the bike to get to the middle of the first turn. Here you see Iversen now hustling around the outside of Chris Harris to get the better of the brick to get into second place. Got to say Iversen then rides really strongly in second place and puts Nicky Pedersen under a lot of pressure. Look at this move from Niels Christian Iversen, really running hard into there, and he clips the bottom of the air fence late on in the race. Look at that. That really was a brave move from Iversen. Straightening up there.
Me.
That was goodness me indeed. Absolutely spot on. But Pedersen hangs on out in front. 3-time world champion. Means business here this afternoon.
10 points from 4 rides. Great performance from Nicky Pedersen. Niels Christian Iversen knows that he's looking good for a place in the semi-finals here in Latvia. The riders are at tapes for heat 14, including Greg Hancock, who has been magnificent so far. Hampel is in the mix as well here.
Well, Hampel's been desperately disappointing in his last 2 outings. He won 1 race earlier on, but since then it's been awful from Hampel.
Greg Hancock off the inside with Jarek Hampel off 2, Kenneth Pierre going off gate number 3. Chris Holder going off the outside in yellow here. He needs points as well. It's a big lineup, this one. Can Hancock make it work? You have to fancy him from gate 1 here, Kel.
Yeah, when you consider how well Nicky Pedersen made the start, and you know Hancock's trapping like out of the top draw every time. So yes, Hancock is favourite, but you know, it's an unpredictable afternoon at Speedway, and Holder was very impressive just a few heats earlier.
Hancock looks smooth and controlled, and he is away from the start. That is just brilliant. And now Hancock with that lead. Coming through is Pierre in white now. Kenneth Pierre holding second spot. But surely you're not going to pass Greg Hancock. Third place here in yellow right now is Chris Holder. And Jarek Hampel's trying everything. But Hancock, who has appeared in every single GP in the history of the tournament, is here and he's looking good. And he's kicking on. And he's going to lead the World Championship by 3 points over Ty Wolfenden now.
Yeah, well, he's in fine form here this afternoon. Once again, a textbook start from the inside. The American making it work. There's a terrific tussle for third place between Hampel and Holder. You wouldn't have expected that. You would have expected those 2 big hitters to be an awful lot closer to the front. But Hancock absolutely demoralising the opposition here. He's out in front. He looks fantastic on the motorbike. Pierre enjoying a good ride in second place. Holder just hanging on to third.
Greg Hancock with the race under control and kicking on magnificently now. It's going to be 3 race wins in 4 outings for the Californian superstar. Greg Hancock on his way through to the semi-finals, no problem at all. The Stars and Stripes flags are flying high on the home straight, and Greg Hancock simply superb with Pierre in second. Third place Chris Holder, who's still got some work to do in his last outing now.
He has.
And Jarek Hampel's misery continues.
Yeah, awful day for Jarek Hampel. Last 3 races he's failed to score. But a lot of people criticise him. Certain people criticise Greg Hancock for just being a starter and just hitting the front. But he won't worry about that, I'll tell you, because if he wins the World Championship this year, he'll be delighted.
Greg Hancock is the model professional. He is everything a speedway rider should be about. Handles himself superbly on and off the track, and
top man.
He's just absolutely, well, you run out of things to say about the guy.
Yeah, he's a top man. He's the real deal. Fantastic out of the start that time, and just having a chat with the crew. They've been together a long time. He's had those boys around him for at least 10 years. They really do know themselves inside out. Settled team. Hits the front. Brilliant stuff from the inside. Pierre into second place. Holder there into third, with Hampel once again just not being able to get the bike sorted out. Finding it difficult to score points. He's there in the thick of it early on, but just cannot get going and gets relegated to the back. Pierre's there early on, but as the race continues, it's more and more speed being generated by the American, allowing the bike to run up the banking towards the air fence. So, yeah, he's chuffed with that. 97 points, 3 points in the lead. Woofenden, pressure on. Over to you, Ty.
Yep, 97 points to 94. Everson's on 81. It's been a good day for Greg Hancock here in Daugavpils today. He won here last year. Remember, he's won in Latvia 3 times.
Yeah, good. A great record here. Great record. And what a final it was last year. I've got to say, he rode an absolute storm because there was some real fireworks going on behind him.
I remember it well.
We were thinking, where are they going at one point? Darcy Moore, we weren't quite sure what he was doing, but Hancock did. He won in fine style.
Lebedev off the inside then here, the wild card. Gate 2 is Martin Smolinski of Germany. Christoph Kasperzak, Gate 3 in white, and Troy Batchelor going off the outside. Kasperzak, who was in the wars earlier today, suffered that bad crash, but he's up and about and he's ready to race again, and you can tell he's pumped and ready for action here. Missed the Finnish Grand Prix earlier this year through a knee ligament injury. That cost him because he was really in the shadow of the World Championship at the time. And now it's a good start here from Smolinski off gate number 2, and the man in red has gone square, and Lebedev has lost it completely from Kasperzak in white. How on earth did he manage that? Christoph Kasperzak riding more like a stunt rider than a speedway rider. Fantastic. He has the lead with Smolinski in second. Third place is Batchelor, and Lebedev in red did well to hang on to the bike.
Well, so did Kasperzak. He reminded me there of Tony Ricardo, what he did around the first corner in Cardiff all those years ago. Kasperzak supreme. He used the bottom of the air fence to fire himself to the front, and he's flying out in front. Smolinski now gets the better of the Australian. Troy Batchelor, the German, goes through into second place, and Lebedev is struggling here this afternoon. That's really disappointing. Batchelor now on the inside of Smolinski. Good tussle for second place, but KK out in front, dominating the race.
Yeah, Christoph Kasperzak absolutely battling for everything here. This is going to put him on to 10 points, level with Hancock and Pedersen as well. Christoph Kasperzak into turn 3 and 4 for the last time of heat 15. It's going to be Kasperzak to win the race. Second place, Troy Batchelor, and Martin Smolinski third. And Kasperzak punches the air in delight, and quite right too, because that was brilliant from Kasperzak.
Well, he rode his luck a bit in the first corner, but it paid big dividends because he fired himself off the air fence a couple of times and got himself to the front, and then was comfortably out in front. Good tussle between Troy Batchelor and Martin Smolinski, but quite a remarkable first corner. Looking forward to the replays.
Yeah, that'll be interesting to watch for sure. Heat number 15 there. It's Kasperzak the winner with Troy Batchelor second, Martin Smolinski third. Andrzej Lebedev lost control of the bike early on, did well to stay on it, but it was all about the leader, and now we have 3 riders on 10 points. Hancock, Pedersen, Kasperzak, all on 10 points apiece. We can look forward to seeing those riders in action in the semi-finals.
Well, it's great to see Kasperzak back to top form because he lost it and he was in such fine form. Look at this, they were all argy-bargy getting into the first corner. Once he hits the fence, then he runs it round there, and the dirt there just gives him a bit more speed.
Doesn't care, does he?
No, not at all. Not at all. Not even thinking about backing the throttle off. He's already hit the deck hard earlier on today in that very spot, in actual fact, but he uses that extra little bit of grip. And he wins the race comfortably, as you see. Good stuff there from Troy Batchelor and Smolinski, entertaining us for a good tussle for second and third, with Batchelor finally getting the better of the German, and he stamps his authority on second place. But a very entertaining first corner there from Kasperzak, 10 points to his name. He's looking good. Look at the move there from Batchelor. So fast down the back straight it is here. It really is impressive speed. Top speed down there.
Well, great stuff from Christoph Kasperzak with 10 points to his name now. It's setting it up really nicely for the...
He's thanking God again, isn't he?
For because the semi-finals and the final.
Yeah, it is. Absolutely. Brilliant stuff. Yeah, good stuff from Kasperzak. And it's good to see him back on top form, because when he won in Big Gosh in April, you think, here we go, it's going to be his year. But he just got injured, killed his momentum.
Well, if you like a nice Sunday afternoon nap, we're sorry if we're keeping you awake. With our excitement here in Heat 16. But it really is spectacular at times, and now a lot of the focus will be on gate number 2. Lindgren's off the inside, done a good job so far today. Woffenden with work to do. He's got 2 races left, needs to get into the semi-finals. Segar off gate 3 with work to do as well. That's Podzooks going off the outside in yellow. Peterson watching on from the pits area. This is heat 16 and a big race for the man in blue off gate 2.
Spare bike, hasn't ridden this engine for some period of time. He'll be keeping his fingers crossed that it works out. He'll be looking to get that real charge for the first corner, but I'd say that Lindgren's looked pretty useful here this afternoon, so he could be a danger man on the inside.
And Woffenden has not made the start at all, and what about that from Podzooks off the outside gate? Cas Podzooks. Now Woffenden's going to try the inside, but Lindgren's there as well. Zagar coming through in white 2, and the world champion has been left standing at the start and trailing at the back. Zagar on the inside. What a move from the Slovenian, and Woffenden's come through into third.
Good move from Matty Zagar. He had a lot of momentum going down the back straight, and he worked perfectly to slip up the inside of Podzook. Podzooks early on had the Latvians on their feet. Still a good effort here from Podzooks. If he can hang on, he's having a really good run. He could well make the semi-finals. Zagar needed this. He needed to hit the front, and so he's done that. But got to say, disappointment for Woffenden. This is good news for the Greg Hancock in the context of the World Championship. No question about that. But this race belongs to Zagar. He's looking good out in front.
Yeah, great Speedway again early on, and now Lindgren is charging hard after Woffenden. Woffenden needs the points here because he still needs points in his last ride if he's to get into the semi-finals, but quite clearly the setup's not right there. Ty Woffenden was left standing at the start, but what about Zagar? That's a big win for the man in white. He's on to 7 points. And what about Podzooks as well? He moves on to 8 points with that second spot there. He can look forward to a place in the semi-finals. Cas Podzooks, what a performance from him. Ty Woffenden third, Freddie Lindgren on the back, but the home fans, Kelvin, are absolutely jubilant.
Well, when he hit the front coming off the first corner, the Latvians just in front of the commentary position here were on their feet, cheering and really getting behind their man. It was a good ride from Zagar. He's put himself right amongst the points and looks like he's going to make the top 8, but Podzooks, an absolute star-studded performance from the local man. Great stuff.
He's ridden great, hasn't he? Podzooks, it's Hancock, Pedersen, Kasperzak now. 3 riders on 10 points.
Yeah, good stuff from Zagar there. He rode a really textbook opening lap. He weighed it up. He had a lot of speed down the outside on the opening lap and then switched to the cutback coming out of turn 4. Great start initially from Podzooks coming from the outside, but look at Zagar, he's in no man's land there, but the slingshot here, he's got more speed than everybody. Rides it here because Podzooks allows the bike to run in the middle of the track, but then has to turn it and kills his momentum just momentarily, and Zagar reads this beautifully. Just turning up their wheels in line, that's sweet as you like, charges to the front. Lindgren will be desperately disappointed. He had 6 points from his first 3 rides and he's failed to score here. He's under pressure with just 1 ride to go. Woffenden likewise needed a win, didn't get it, only got 1 point and had to work overtime just to hang on for that 3rd place, and he's probably needs a win to make the semi-finals from his last ride. Zagar, 7 points, probably needs 1, 2 would be certain.
Yeah, good stuff from Matty Zagar. And now we've got some track grading again, which I'm sure is going to take a little bit longer than usual because of the fact that it's baking hot now, and the daytime racing, it is more difficult for the track staff to keep conditions under control.
It is, because, you know, this is a light, sandy material with not a lot of clay in it. It doesn't hold the moisture, and it's breeze with the sunshine on it. It just literally dries up so very quickly. There's a blue groove. We can see lots of rubber actually being laid down on the track on the entrance to turns 1 and 2, and that's an indication of how hard baked the track is there. Just a moment for the fans just to relax a moment before the next round of races.
Yep, 4 more heats to go to decide the semi-finals and final here in Daugavpils, the delayed Latvian Grand Prix. And there has been a scattering of spectacular racing here today. And we know it's one of the fastest tracks around as well here in Daugavpils, and
it is.
He's finding it tough. AJ?
Yeah, it's just not working out for him at Grand Prix level. He must be thinking, crikey, what have I got to do? He has a good budget, he has a very professional out team, and it just is not quite working for him. Plenty of effort going in there. You can't say he's throwing the towel in. He's battling as hard as he can, but it's just not quite happening. But yeah, these last 4 heats, 17 through to 20, it's going to be hugely important in the context of the World Championship. Ty Woffenden, the World champion, will need to come up with a really big ride. He is out in heat 19 off the outside, and he needs to win it.
Yeah, he's up against Smolinski, Harris and Hampel as well. It's all or nothing, you feel, for Woofenden. Podzooks, what a story he is. He's been absolutely magnificent. Chris Holder now, 2012 world champion, is with Chris Louis.
Joel, well, Chris, back in the Grand Prix, and what a tough one to come back in.
Yeah, it is. Happy to be back and scoring a few points, but the track today requires a lot of confidence and a lot of big moves. You got to be on the fence, and I'm not going to lie about it. I'm not planning on being out there too wide, but you know, I'm going to race for every point, but I'm not going to be pushing it too much, I don't think.
Yeah, we've seen it from, I think, Jonsson, Everson, Pedersen, Zager. So many guys running up the fence. It's pretty unusual. I mean, it shows the commitment from everybody today.
Yeah, for sure. It's such a quick track too, and there's not a lot of dirt when you come in, so when you come in and choose your line, it's you got to know where you're going because you can end up in the fence. But it's going not too bad. The track's the same for everyone, so just make some good starts and don't have to run them lines.
So big and fast and wide, that's the thing. It's very difficult to cover anybody trying to make a move on you.
Yeah, when you're not fast, you definitely know you're not real quick. So, yeah, you make the start, you can ride where you want and make the guys go around you if they can.
Thanks, Chris.
No worries.
Well, that was very honest of Chris Holder there. He suffered some really serious injuries in the last 2 seasons, and quite clearly on the return once again from a broken wrist and neck. Doesn't feel really that he can put it right on the safety fence, but fair play to him. He needs to make starts and he needs to just battle as hard as he can to make sure he gets in the top 8 and then get really fit later this year so he can finish off the season in style.
And come back stronger next year as well, Kelvin.
Well, of course, yes, he's still a very young man. He's still in his mid-20s. He's a former world champion. He's got a lot of racing ahead of him. Just needs to have a period of time without any injuries so he can really get his confidence back.
Yeah. I like that interview from Chris Holder because, as you said, refreshingly honest.
Yeah, it's not easy.
He's not going to put it on the line like that. He's not going to go as wide as some of the other boys are.
I had an awful accident early in my career and I broke my left arm, my left leg, my knee.
Is that all?
It just took some time to really believe that I could really go for it without being completely clear-minded.
How long did it take you psychologically to get over that? Did that affect the rest of your career?
No.
Mentally?
No. It changed me as a rider. I became more clever on the bike. It took about 3 months to really get it out of my system from a racing perspective, but I improved as a rider because of it.
Interesting.
Yeah, well, you have to, you know, because, you know, your body, if you've had serious injuries, you have to work hard to get your body to work properly again.
Is that what Chris is going through now, Kev?
Definitely. He needs to, you know, he needs to get strong and fit to enable him to be strong mentally to take the challenge of Grand Prix Speedway on, because at times in the season, Nigel, you're going to have to roll the dice a bit every now and again.
He came back. He did some Australian rounds back home in the winter. Came back to Europe, Chris, and they were horrendous in multiple injuries last year. Is it one of those where maybe the start of the season, April this year, was still a little bit too soon for Chris Holder? Could have done with a couple of months more off?
Yes, but you know, he was out for some period of time, wasn't he? And he was riding in Australia and he came back, he rode for the Pirates, full Pirates in Britain for a few weeks, didn't he, covering for Darcy Ward, and you sense there, you could see he was a little bit tentative. And it's not easy, and he's gently building up his confidence, and then he has another nasty injury with the wrist and neck injuries, and then he's had to miss a bit more races. So it's been stop-start sort of return, and as I say, he needs an extended period now where he can stay injury-free, use the winter to really gain fitness and condition so he can come back out fighting fit for 2015.
Well, plenty of water going down now from the water carter here at Daugavpils. The track work going on once again. They are taking a little bit longer than usual because of the dry conditions that we now have. We have had the odd shower, but it's been baking hot as well. Very humid here in Daugavpils as well this afternoon.
It certainly is in the commentary box, that's for sure. It's quite humid, although when we arrived it was quite fresh.
It's full of hot air as well.
There's a bit of that kicking about, for sure. But just keeping an eye on Neil Spiccioli, just warming up his bike.
Yeah, and Troy Batchelor is with Chris Lilly.
10 points adrift coming in tonight from the top 8, but putting in a pretty good performance tonight. Still need points from your last one.
Yeah, trying hard out there, and had a couple of all right races, but could do with a race win out there.
Gate 1 and Heat 20, how do you think Gate 1's going to perform for you?
I just had Gate 4 then, and it seems to have gone off a little bit because everyone keeps riding over the top of it and taking that away. So I think Gate 1's the one to have for the last race.
The Grand Prix series is tough tonight in particular. It's a tough racetrack for you guys out there, presenting many lines. How much are you learning in this series?
Just developing myself. You know, obviously I've had some good GPs and learned from them, had some really bad ones and also learned from them. So just every time I race, every time I turn up at a new GP, I'm always learning and looking to better myself. So, you know, it's not as easy as it looks on TV sometimes, and always put in the effort that I need, and it's got to pay off sooner or later.
I'm sure it will, Troy. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, Speedway Grand Prix is tough, isn't it? And, you know, after he had that 20-point score in Copenhagen, he has found it difficult then to score more points. But he's outside the top 8, Nigel. Really, he's got a long, well, he's got some hard yards to do if he's going to actually get into the top 8. It's going to be tough for him.
Yeah, and as he said there, Troy, it's not as easy as it looks on TV. Well,
it's not.
A lot of the boys make it look easy on TV because they're so talented. That's because they're so talented.
Best riders in the world.
Yeah, it does look easy sometimes, particularly Greg Hancock. He makes it look so simple, doesn't he?
He does, and you know, he's just top of his game still at 44, which is remarkable. And as you said,
he's got a good future, that lad.
He has, yeah, he's got plenty of time left. So he's not in a hurry, is he? He's still around when he's 50. But no, I marvel at it, you know, how he keeps producing it. Woofenden there just relaxing. Kasper Zak coming out for his last ride. Niels Christian Eversen, we're ready to go. Don't quite know why we've got a delay at this moment, but riders are now preparing themselves for heat 17. Niels Christian Eversen can do with at least 2 points here to secure his top 8 spot for the semi-finals. Podzuks has been really good today. He's been really good this afternoon, Podzuks. I've got to say he's done a great job coming in at the last minute to replace Starsky Ward. Kasper Zak 10 points. So he's full of confidence too.
Yeah, Podzuks has been a real star this afternoon. It's been a real story of the GP as well. Great to see. Lebedev, the wildcard today, has found life tough. He's only got a couple of points under his belt, but he had his moments in the sun last year, and it's Podzuks' turn this time around, albeit unexpectedly, Kel.
Yeah, it is. It's a great effort. You know, obviously no real pressure apart from the fact that he's in front of his home crowd and the expectations are reasonably high. But yeah, he's done a great job. He's going to find himself, he's got more work to do. This will not be his last ride, I fancy. He'll be in the semi-finals. Niels Christian Eversen coming up now for an important ride for Niels. He'll want to try and make sure he gets at least a second place here.
There we go then. Heat number 17. Niels Christian Eversen needs points. He's off the inside gate. He's in the top 8 right now. Kenneth Bière on 6 points so far, off gate number 2. Kas Podzuks goes off gate number 3, and what a day he's had so far. And going off the outside here is Christoph Kasper Zak, 10 points under his belt to date.
Yeah,
fantastic effort.
It is a great effort, and Podzuks in 4th place at the moment at this stage of the afternoon, which is a good return in having 8 points. And I'm sure comes out of gate 3, which won't be easy. They put a lot of water on the track, so interesting to see how the track reacts now with this resumption in heat 17 after extensive track preparation once again. Podzuks has been going. Kasper Zak, he could be the big danger here for the other 3. Just sense that Kasper Zak's really pumped up.
Heat number 17 then, here we go. The resumption of the rear Tumu Bank Latvia FIM Speedway Grand Prix. And that's not the best of starts from Eversen because Bière's got the drop on him, and now Kasper Zak around the outside. And here's Podzuks on the inside as well, but Kasper Zak's at the back now. Bière has that lead. Kenneth Bière with a win here would go through to the semi-finals. Second place in red is Niels Christian Eversen. Third is Podzuks, who's under pressure from Christoph Kasper Zak in the back now. But Kasper Zak knows he'll be in the semi-finals. He's got 10 points, and he's come through into third now as well.
Yeah, up the inside, Podzuks has found himself in no man's land. It was a bit greasy out there, and got to say that Kasper Zak got himself nicely into second place. What a ride from Bière. This is a surprise for me. He's absolutely flying out in front, as you rightly say, Nigel. 3 points here, and he's going to have more work to do. Kasper Zak now, up the inside of Eversen. Super ride. Kasper Zak looked like he was dead and buried earlier. No, Eversen's backed up. Oh, 7 points. That might be tricky for the semi-finals.
Is that a chain again for Niels Christian Iversen that could cost him? Something's happened there. It's a sudden stop. He throws the bike onto the infield. Kenneth Pierre is going to take the victory here in heat number 17. Kasper Zak, who was last at one stage there, finishes second. Podzuk's in third, 9 points for him.
Wow.
But for Niels Christian Iversen, maybe he knows it's just not his day.
Well, he ran last in his opening ride and then was pretty consistent in the next three, but that was a bitter blow for him, and he was battling so hard. Got to say that Kasper Zak rode an absolute blinder to get up into second place. Yeah, where did Pierre find that from? That was a super ride from Kenneth Pierre, surging to the front and dominated the race, really, right from the word go.
Pierre, the winner, with Kasper Zak second, Podzuk's was third. And this is what it means overall now. It means that Iversen is still in the top 8 on 7 points. And has just got to hope that over the next 3 heats he may sneak in. Yeah, fantastic and very, very quick there.
Well, he was, and you know, he's hasn't had a good time in the Grand Prix, but this afternoon he's been up and down, but he finished in style here with a big race win. I didn't really fancy him. Thought it would have been Kasper Zak and Iversen that would have been battling for the win, but it wasn't to be, and particularly for Iversen, the bike packing up later on in the race. It's a massive blow to him, but all credit to Kasper Zak. He was comfortable on 10 points. He didn't really need to push this hard, but look at him come through there. Whether there were problems there with Iversen's bike, we don't really know, because the bike packs up very shortly afterwards. There it is. Can't quite see whether the chains come off. It might well be. He's looking towards the back of the bike immediately. Whether this is the chain issue, sort of a hangover from the problems he had earlier on this afternoon, but that man had no hangover. He was absolutely fantastic out in front. And he's looking super. Kenneth Pierre is on 9 points. He's going to have a semi-final to take part in.
Fair play to him, and Krzysztof Kasper Zak, no wonder he's smiling. Polish champion on Thursday night. Now into the semi-finals of the Latvian Grand Prix with 12 points. It's been a good few days' work for Krzysztof Kasper Zak.
That'll do nice.
Yep, absolutely. Here we go with heat 18. Greg Hancock up against Nicky Pedersen. 2 riders on 10 points apiece. And Hancock currently leads the World Championship over Ty Woffenden. Lindgren's off the inside, throw him into the mix. He's desperate for points here.
He is.
Freddie Lindgren, so we've got quite a race lined up here.
Yeah, they're coming thick and fast. Hancock on 97, 2 points in front of Ty Woffenden, but you just sense that Hancock's in better form here this afternoon, and opportunity for Hancock to try and get a little bit of a lead in the championship, particularly if Woffenden can't make the semi-finals here this afternoon. That could be a big move in the championship chase.
Here we go, Lindgren off the inside, needs points. Greg Hancock going off gate number 2 in blue. Nicky Pedersen gate 3 in white. And Andrzej Lebedev, the wild card, going off the outside in yellow. Hancock immaculate in 3 of his 4 rides. Perfect starts and perfect wins.
Yeah.
Can he be stopped here in heat 17?
Well, Pedersen's going to be
18 even.
Okay, yeah. All right, 18, and here we go. Nicky Pedersen, gate 3. Hasn't been great, but he's in good form. And Lindgren desperately disappointed last time.
Here we go, heat number 18, Lindgren's made a good start. Hancock now is going to go high and wide, and Pedersen switches up the inside. Oh, this is a great ride from Nicky Pedersen to go around Lebedev. Hancock goes up the inside as well. Lindgren's at the back. Hancock holding second spot. Lebedev though comes around him. What a move from Lebedev. The lead is with Nicky Pedersen. Lebedev second, Greg Hancock third, and Freddie Lindgren is struggling at the back.
Well, that was a really fast first corner. Look at Hancock running up the inside of the wildcard Lebedev. Brilliant ride from Greg Hancock, desperately trying to chase down Pedersen. Pedersen's having a really good afternoon here. He's looking good. He started with 2 second places, but he's battled hard for those. And I'll tell you what, it's looking like he's going to have 3 wins on the spin here. This is a good effort from Nicky Pedersen. Terrific out in front. Hancock, the championship leader, battling awfully hard. Every point vital now.
Yeah, we're into the last lap of heat number 18, and Nicky Pedersen, 3 times world champion, has the lead over Greg Hancock, twice world champion. 5 world titles between them at the front of this race now. Freddie Lindgren's frustration continues here in Latvia. He's not going to make the semi-finals, but it's a great ride from the man in white. Nicky Pedersen ahead of Greg Hancock. Third was Andrzej Lebedev there. That was a great race between Hancock and Lebedev, you know.
Yeah, it was really good. Really battled hard, but Nicky Pedersen's coming up with the goods here this afternoon, without question. Got to say, Hancock rode very well there. Lebedev made him work really hard for that second place. It was a tough first corner for the American, but he had to pick his way through the traffic. Pedersen out in front, though. He's dangerous here.
Yeah, Pedersen, Hancock, Lebedev, the finishing order there. Lindgren finished last, and that's a frustrating end. 2 last places for Freddie. He's still in the top 8, but
desperate.
Yeah, you have to fancy he'll dip out of that. Pedersen leads a GP on 13. He's going to have first pick of gate positions in the semi-finals.
Well, got to give him an awful lot of credit. He's had a change around in the crew, but it's working because he's come here after 2 disappointing Grand Prix before the Speedway World Cup. He won the Speedway World Cup, clearly has benefited from that. Great first corner from Pedersen, fires himself to the front. Look at Hancock. Hancock has to work very hard here. Initially, it's all about Lindgren and Hancock. They go far too wide. That leaves the door wide open for Lebedev and Nicky Pedersen to get up the inside. Hancock then has to pass Lebedev twice because Lebedev then battles his way back into second place around the outside of the American on the opening lap. But all credit to Hancock, he shows a lot of resolve here with an extra speed down the back straight and slips up the inside and gets himself into second place, moving on to 12 points. But that man, 13 points, well, I'll tell you what, he looks like he could be a winner here this afternoon.
And Heat 19 is a big race for the reigning champ, Ty Woffenden in yellow. We see Hampel here in white, but the reigning champion, Ty Woffenden in yellow, off gate number 4, needs a win here, you feel. 7 points may just give you a squeak of getting in. Everson's still in there on 7 from 5 rides. And here's the race for the title. Hancock 4 up on Woffenden now, but a win for Woffenden ties it all up to 1 point difference once again. And Everson and Pedersen for 3rd and 4th. That's an interesting subplot as well. And there's 4 rounds to go after this afternoon, so still a long way to go in the title race.
This is a character-building ride for Woffenden. This is a sort of ride. He's not enjoying the best of Grand Prix, but he's got to try and somehow scrap for every point. If he could manage to win this and just keep it tight at the top of the title chase, that would be job done here, I tell you.
Smolinski off the inside, Harris off 2, Hampel off 3, Woffenden off the outside. None of these 4 riders have had the best of Grand Prix here today in Daugavpils. As the afternoon sunshine beams down here in Latvia, 2 hours time difference to the UK. To be said, we have a lot of viewers in the UK, of course, of our World Beat coverage. It's 5:15 in the afternoon here in Latvia this afternoon, and now it's a big moment for Woffenden off the outside gate. Can he get there? It's a good start from Smolinski off the inside gate. Now Woffenden is going to go wide. He's going to have to rely on the drive around the outside here. He's clawing the gap back here and goes on the inside. What a move that is from Ty Woffenden. But watch out for Smolinski, who's coming back for more now. Woffenden, though, has the lead, and what a moment that was from the reigning champion. Smolinski is 2nd, Hampel 3rd. Harris has pulled up at the back, but Woffenden knew he had to do it. He calculated his move, and it's paid dividends.
Great move from the world champion. He didn't make the start because Smolinski was fast, but now he's got himself to the front. Looks like he's beginning to build the momentum. It's all about the starts for Woffenden here this afternoon. Hampel struggling in 3rd place, and Harris has packed up. He's no longer in the race. That's a shame for him, but Woffenden needed the points, showing real resolve here, desperately going for it out in front. He's flying, looking like he's really got that bike working well.
Yeah, he's going so close towards the safety fence, and he's half a length of straight clear now. He is absolutely flying, and he will fancy his chances of kicking on from here now. That is a real ride. You said it was a test of character, Kelvin. The champion has proved he's got the character. It was a fantastic move from Woffenden to go on to 8 points there in heat number 19. He knows the importance of that, and he closes the gap in the world title race to 1 point behind Greg Hancock. Will it go the distance to Torren in October?
Could very well do, but that was a great ride from Woffenden. He didn't make a great start, but super move down the back straight to get the better of Martin Smolinski. And once he hit the front, you could just sense he was beginning to relax on the motorbike, running wider and wider, using the momentum right out by the air fence. And the world champion looked very impressive. Heat 19, he does the business.
Certainly does. So it's a win for Woffenden. Smolinski 2nd. Jarek Hampel, what a frustrating afternoon for him. 3rd place for Jarek Hampel, and it means that Woffenden moves into the top 8 now. He's on 8 points. And, looking good now for the semi-finals. On 8 points, Ty Wolfenden with a fantastic ride from gate 4.
Yeah, Smolinski made a good start and he hugs the inside. Look how wide he goes there. He's a country mile away from Smolinski, but what you do get from that move is that you generate the extra speed so you can make the move down the end of the back straight. Smolinski then tries to repay the compliment by getting up the inside and getting himself back to the front. Here we see it. Just swooping off that first corner, then slips up the inside and gets himself to the front, and that's where he stays. And once he settles in front, you could just see the body language on the bike. He was a lot more relaxed, and he was using the speed and the momentum, kicking off the outside and just pulling further and further away. And I'm sure Ty will be really pleased with not only the fact that he won the race, but in the manner he did it. He's into the top 8, he's battling hard, he's scrapping for every point.
Just a word on Chris Harris. He didn't finish the race. I'm not sure the bike was packed up there. I just wonder whether he's got a fitness issue, and that'll be a concern for his British club Coventry.
Yeah, could
who
be.
rides Swindon, who include Troy Batchelor tomorrow night at Brandon. Wolfenden back in the UK tomorrow as well. Wolverhampton at home to Leicester. So heat number 20 coming up. And it's a big moment as well for Matti Zagar, who's looking to secure his spot. He's in 8th place right now. Chris Holder needs points here. Troy Batchelor is in with a squeak as well. It's Batchelor, Jonsson, Holder and Zagar. It's a big race, this one, Kelvin. Plenty to go for.
Yeah, a heat win for one of those two boys. And Holder, oh sorry, excuse me, Niels Christian Iversen might be in danger of missing out. It will depend on what they did when they met each other. It's going to go to the counter if that's the scenario. But Chris Holder, not full of confidence, he needs to come up with a big start out of gate 3.
Here we go, heat number 20, and going into that first turn, Batchelor has got there. Super ride from Troy Batchelor. Now Holder's going wide, and now Jonsson is charging hard as well, and now they're wheel to wheel going into turn 3, but Batchelor has the lead. This will be a great moment for Troy Batchelor if he can hang on here. He's got the lead, but he's really being hunted down, and they're bunching up again. They're all very tight here going into lap 2.
They are indeed, and look at that. Holder's now gone to the back. He got squeezed up there. He was in no man's land, and the Australian boy, the former world champion on 2012, has just not got the brakes. Andreas Jonsson now gets the better of Troy Batchelor. Andreas Jonsson, too little, too late, you would suggest. Batchelor now trying to get back up the inside. Andreas Jonsson, where's this speed come from? Matti Zagar and Holder battling hard for 3rd place. This is going to turn it on its head. It's going to be interesting to see exactly how the top 8 pan out here this afternoon.
Stays like this, Iversen's going to miss out by the looks of it, because Zagar will move on to 8. Troy Batchelor will move on to 8 as well. And there is a possibility with Holder nicking a point, maybe towards the end of the race he might get through.
Not going to do it, Nigel.
Down to the checkered flag. Jonsson gets there, Batchelor 2nd and Zagar 3rd. Zagar with 8 points there, and it's a win for Jonsson. And Batchelor moves on to 8. He goes above Iversen. By my reckoning then, it's looking like Iversen is going to miss out on a place in the semi-finals by a point. 8 is enough. Batchelor, Zagar, Wolfenden all finishing on 8, and Iversen has finished on 7. So it's bad news for Niels Christian Iversen, that result. Jonsson, Batchelor, Zagar and Holder, who also misses out on a semi-final place.
Yeah, well, good way to finish for Andreas Jonsson, and disappointment for Niels Christian Iversen. He'll rue that in the mechanical drama he had in his last ride. Only needed one more point and probably would have made the semi-finals. Early doors here, Holder on the outside. He just runs into traffic problems here. You'll see him. He puts his foot down there a couple of times, not quite sure what to do down the back straight there. Not a lot of racing room. Batchelor out in front, but gotta say, Andreas Jonsson suddenly turns the style on here, because he's had a hard time. He's not going to make the top 8, but he has finished well. He's had, what, 2 last places, a win, a 2nd and a 3rd. Not enough this afternoon, but this is more like it. He can have the speed. Zagar and Holder out the back, scrapping for their lives, desperately trying to pick up any points that they possibly can. Batchelor getting past there earlier on in the race to get relegated to 2nd place. Iversen's going to be kicking himself, isn't he? That is a big blow for him. If it was the chain that came off, it cost him a possibility of a top 8 here this afternoon.
No wonder he threw his bike down on the infield. As if to say, that's just let me down. It's cost him.
Yeah, it has, because although he was relegated to 3rd place, 1 point would have been possibly enough for him. But some tough time, and Grand Prix, there's no place for mistakes. There's so little between being in and being out. Look at Woofenden up against it with one race to go and comes up with a terrific ride.
Dug deep, didn't he?
He did, and he had to, and that's why he's there. That's why he's won 3 Grand Prix, second in the title chase again this year, because he's showing great resolve.
Well, also a real chance for Nicky Pedersen here, as we see Freddie Lindgren making his way back towards the dressing room. A day of disappointment for Freddie Lindgren.
Yeah,
but the Woofenden fans here, a real sterling effort. But yes, here we go for the semi-finals now. But a real chance. Nicky Pedersen going for 3rd place in the World Championship at the end of today. Niels Christian Iversen will not gain any ground, but Nicky Pedersen can really build up some momentum in 3rd place.
He can, and with no Ward here and Iversen missing out, you're right. And he will pounce. He will know the significance of this for certain. Just waiting now for the draw for the semi-finals. And Nicky Pedersen, of course, will have the first pick with 13 points. And he'll want to kick on. He'll want a really big score here to give himself every chance of getting right back in the championship race with 4 rounds to go after this one in Daugavpils. Pedersen enjoying himself here, and that's good news for him. Greg Hancock, of course, has ridden beautifully, and Ty Woofenden having to work very hard, swapping bikes, not really that comfortable, but finally getting that win he desperately needed. Patience now is the order. We are waiting for the semi-final picks. Riders just having to get themselves together. Disappointment for that man. It's, after that 6 points from 3 rides, to fail to score in the next 2, he must be absolutely desperately disappointed.
Standings then are now confirmed. It was clear-cut anyway, with the 8 points as the margin. Iversen on 7, Lindgren, Holder, Jonsson, Smolinski all on 6 now. Nicky Pedersen, fantastic, 13 points. Hancock on 12 and Woofenden on 8. And in the context of the World Championship, Woofenden was a 3-point leader over Hancock. Hancock's overhauled that now. We are awaiting the semi-final picks.
Here we go, this will be interesting, this. Yeah, it's the inside gate has been poor, and it's not because you haven't got to the first corner. It means you're just getting stranded. You're finding yourself getting into no man's land. Gate 4 has worked nicely because you get that extra little slingshot off the first corner, which has helped big time, particularly down the back straight with riders carrying more speed. I think it's probably a little bit dry on the inside, and Gate 2 has just outperformed it. But yeah, big decisions to be made, though, going into the semi-finals, because it isn't clear-cut. And it will come down to a gut instinct if you want to race from a particular place. Interesting to see what Pedersen does. Still waiting. Track preparation going on, as they've done. They've done a decent job. It's been easy this afternoon because it's breezy and warm, and this sort of sandy, loamy material dries very quickly, and they've done a decent job to keep racing conditions pretty good. And it hasn't been a classic, but it's been entertaining.
Yeah, I'd agree with that totally. It's not been wall-to-wall passing and spectacular stuff, but we have seen some tense action. It's been very tight. Podzooks has been a bonus, hasn't he, as a reserve replacement for Darcy Ward. And, you know, there has been some good stuff out there, Kel.
Yeah, 1 or 2 moments have been really quite special. Kasprzak kissing off the bottom of the air fence in the first corner. Lebedev running up the back of Zagard, just about hanging on to the bike down the back straight, where it could all got very difficult and ugly indeed. And then that hard crash earlier on when Holder and Kasprzak came together and Harris went into the fence. So yes, there have been some highlights, but by and large it's been first corner moves that have really sealed the moves that can win you the races. But Grand Prix points on the line, valuable Grand Prix points on the line that you're going to be battling hard. And the 2 main protagonists, of course, Woofenden and Hancock, are in there. And Hancock just having the upper hand at the moment.
Yeah, he looks happy with his setup, but even he is not unstoppable, Greg Hancock, because of you know, the 2 races where he has dropped points, so nobody's dominating. But Nicky Pedersen has been absolutely superb today. He's had a couple of, shall we say, ordinary rounds before the World Cup break, but here today he's right back on song, isn't he?
He is, and all credit to him, because the Speedway World Cup must have given him a really good boost, because he rode well in Bydgoszcz, and he came out as a joker and won it, and then he backed it up with another race win. Winning the gold medal, of course, has boosted it. Here we go now. It's be interesting to see what Nicky does. Semi-final number 1, 13 points to his name. Top man so far after 20 races. Gate 1. It's the worst gate stats-wise, but feels that he can win the race from there. Interesting move from Pedersen.
Outside next, maybe?
Kenneth Pierre, now that'll be interesting.
Gate 4, Kenneth, come on.
He might well go for gate 2. Gate 2 it is, and that's been pretty useful, gate 2. 6 race wins, I think. Woofenden's got to go for gate 4. I think he'll be happy with that. Won his last race. No, he hasn't. Gate 3, now that is a surprise to me, because he won his race quite nicely from gate 4. And Zagar may be reasonably pleased with that.
Interesting, interesting. I thought Woofenden may have gone for 4, because if the start doesn't work, he can try the cut on the inside.
Absolutely, Pedersen off the inside then. Here we see Hancock now, semi-final number 2. He's enjoyed a super Grand Prix once again, super consistent. And he's going to go gate 1. Here we see Hancock. Well, they're ignoring the stats on the start, aren't they? Because gate 1 coming into this part of the meeting was the worst gate. But both first picks have gone for the inside, so work that one out.
Funny old game.
Funny old game. Here we go. Gate 3. Gate 3 for Kasperzak. I don't think they're that clear. Here we see Potsuits. Gate 2 for him.
Straight to gate number 2.
Okay, thank you very much indeed. He's probably delighted with that. And Troy Batchelor, he's going to go from the outside. So, yeah. Interesting times, they're all in it.
Yeah,
1 or 2. Yeah, absolutely. And it's going to be some odd decisions there, but it's down to gut instinct. You know, you might, as I say, it's not really that clear today. And the riders, Nicky Pedersen and Hancock, are going to trust their starting ability, and then to get the extra speed off the inside somehow to protect their position down the back straight. That's when they could be vulnerable.
And if you're Greg Hancock and Nicky Pedersen, why not trust your starting ability? Because it's stood them in good stead down the years, with 5 world titles between them.
They're quite good at it, aren't they?
They're not bad.
Not bad at all. I'm trying to think of anybody better right now. No, nobody springs to mind. So, yeah, we'll go with it. Hancock, 99, Woofenden, 98. Nip and tuck for the championship lead. Everson's going to be furious. 81 points. He's missed out the semi-finals. As you rightly say, Nige, great opportunity for Pedersen. He stormed back into the picture here this afternoon.
Darcy Ward started the day in 3rd place and has slipped down to 5th. Zagar, 74. Now, Hampel's on 63 in 8th place. It's all about getting in the top 8 for a place in next year's series. But Jarek Hampel has been dogged by inconsistency today. My goodness, we're Sunday afternoon knitting here in Daugavpils. Don't quite need a jumper knitting in this weather. But no, good entertainment, and we've got the semi-finals to come, and looking forward to 3 great races to come now, Kel.
Yeah, Biggs is end of the meeting, and it's been a decent GP. A good GP for Nicky, he's enjoyed himself. Water Cart is now exiting the track, and preparation is now over for the 2 semi-finals, so riders should be making their way very shortly to their machines and preparing themselves for the all-important semi-finals. Pedersen will be very keen to make the final. Just seeing the Andreas Johnson crew there, disappointment once again for him, missing out on the all-important business end, but Woofenden. What do you fancy, Nige? Woofenden has been at his best here this afternoon, but that last ride just looked like he had found something, didn't he?
Got some speed there, didn't he?
He did, yeah, and he's going to need it, because that man, I'll tell you what, he's been very impressive. Zagar, Pierre's come up with a couple of really good rides here this afternoon. His first ride and his last ride, he won, and he won very comfortably. He got to the front, and there was no stopping him, so he will be a dangerous man if he makes a start from gate 2.
Well, expect the unexpected in the Grand Prix here in Daugavpils. It's been full of surprises. And
we said that before, didn't we, earlier? There've been some surprises, and Potsuits has been a surprise. And fair play to him, and the Latvians have got plenty of local interest, so they're going to be excited about can their man make the final. That'll be a good achievement if he makes the final here this afternoon. That really will.
Just a bit.
Put himself on the international scene. Crikey. Yeah, terrific effort.
Great atmosphere here today as well. At short notice, the crowd have come out here this afternoon in Daugavpils, and it is tremendous, and fair play to them for that. It's been terrific stuff, and why not enjoy Sunday afternoon at the Speedway at the Grand Prix. They've got Lokomotiv Daugavpils versus Bydgoszcz to come here next Sunday in the Polish League as well, and we're just awaiting the first semi-final here now. The track work has been completed some while ago, so I think they just want to get on with it.
Yeah, they do. Riders are ready, goggles on, helmets on. and cut out lanyards around the wrists. Zagar just gently making his way across, but here they go. Bike's being pushed off. Pedersen and Pierre almost clashing as they came out onto the track there. Riders desperate to have a good look at the track and get themselves prepared for the all-important semi-final.
Yeah, looking forward to this one then. Could be fireworks here in the first semi-final. Seen some drama, seen some crashes, seen some fast and exciting action as well. Woffenden could retake the lead in the World Championship here in this first semi-final with the right result for him. And point behind Greg Hancock. 99 plays 98. And this is round number 8.
Really tight, good ride from Woofy there to make sure that he kept the pressure on Hancock. It could have been, if he'd missed out there, it could well have been a tough afternoon there for Woofenden. Coming out of gate 3, I hope it works out for him, but that was a surprise move for me to pick it. I thought he'd go for gate 4.
First semi-final. Will Woofy be left in no man's land, or will he make it count? Zagar off the outside doing his gardening, ready for action. First semi-final from Davenpils coming up. Here we go with the first semi-final. Nicky Pedersen going off the inside has been superb today with 3 straight wins going into this semi-final. Kenneth Pierre off gate number 2 in blue. Ty Woffenden, who's scraped through with 8 points, he's off gate 3. And Mate Zagar from the outside in yellow. Here we go, heat number 21.
Here we go, indeed. First semi-final. A couple of riders here had to work really hard to get through to this point. Zagar and Woffenden haven't been completely convincing, but they've had to scrap hard and they've finally done it. And now all of a sudden, who knows? Big start, hit the front, you can find yourself in the final. Pierre's had a tough campaign, very tough campaign, but today, this afternoon, he's done the business. Good stuff from Pedersen, 13 points to his name. He chose, he had the first pick, he's gone for the inside. Big rush down there, can he fire out of there and hit the front?
Here we go then, first semi-final here in Davenpils. And it's a good start from Pedersen off the inside. Woffenden has been left standing. Pedersen has the lead, and now Woffenden is going to try the inside switch. And now Kenneth Pierre has got loads of speed around the outside. Here comes Zagar as well. Oh, what a back straight move that was. And Nicky Pedersen has the lead now. Pierre is second. Zagar's going to charge hard up the inside. The battle is on here, but Pedersen's immaculate form continues.
Off the inside, made the start and he made it count. He got himself to the front and he looks good. Yeah, out of gate 2, which has worked well. This afternoon is running hard there. Zagar was pushing him at the end of the first lap, but Woffenden didn't get out of gate 3 and he's tailing off in 4th place. Looking like it's an opportunity for Hancock in semi-final number 2. Pedersen's got this night. He's looking good. 13 points before this semi-final number 1. Going to move on to 16 big points. A big afternoon for Pedersen.
Now this result as well, if Woffenden does trailing last, there is potential for Greg Hancock with 2 wins in his semi and the final,
yes,
to have a 7-point lead going into Gorzhov in 2 weeks' time in the World Championship. A real opportunity for Hancock now, but for Pedersen it's a big win. 2nd place Pierre, 3rd was Zagar. Woffenden was left standing at the start in that first semi-final, and his afternoon is over.
Such a disappointment for the champion. Not sure he took the right gate there. He struggled, to be fair to him, he has struggled out of all gates here this afternoon. He just hasn't been quite on it as he would have liked, but Nicky Pedersen has. The man has been electric after 2 solid 2nd places in his opening 2 rides. He is unbeaten in the next 4. That's a fantastic performance from him. He is in tip-top form. He is the man to beat.
Stamps his authority in 3rd place in the World Championship as well, with a big, firm left foot and steel shoe. Pedersen 16 points. He is the clear leader. As I say, with Woffenden trailing in last, there is an opportunity for Hancock with 2 wins to have a 7-point lead going into Gorzhov in a fortnight.
Yeah, tense times here for Woffenden. Just spun up coming off a gate 3, tries the inside line, but can't get himself in the 2nd place with hanging on to that, and Zagar just running into trouble. You see it now, he just runs out of racing room with Pedersen and Pierre, the Danish duo, dominating the race. Got to say then, I thought Zagar then would have enough speed here when he chops to the inside. I thought he actually would get up the inside of Kenneth Pierre, but fair place to the pocket rocket from Denmark. He rides a really strong race to hang on to the 2 points and go through to his first final of the year. racing here. Pedersen is in super form, and Pierre will be chuffed to bits with his 11 points.
Good day for the Danes. Pedersen and Pierre through to the final here in Daugavpils. And in the second semi-final, we have the local hero, Kas Podzooks, in as a replacement for Darcy Ward today. There's Greg Hancock. He is the man off the inside gate in red. A semi-final appearance for Troy Bachelor as well. He's worked hard today.
He has indeed, and as you say, Nigel, Hancock just said in the World Championship, his main rival for the championship go out. He must be aware of this as a great opportunity to make a move towards his third world title.
Hancock off the inside, Podzooks off 2, Kasperzak off 3, Bachelor off the outside gate as well. Podzooks arrived at the stadium today, hoping to get a ride. He's preparing for his 6th of the afternoon.
Yeah, he's having to work a little bit harder than he thought, isn't he? You know, but I'll tell you what, he won't be disappointed to be having to work hard. He's enjoyed himself. I'm sure he's absolutely delighted to be in the semi-final. I know that the home crowd are. They'll be absolutely overjoyed if he can make the final. Lebedev got very close last year. Can Podzooks in the second semi-final here make the final in front of the Daugavpils home public? Brilliant opportunity for the Latvian.
Well, they do get behind their riders here. It went wild when Lebedev got through last year as wild card. Here today, Podzooks, an unexpected call-up. Here we go. Second semi-final. Hancock leads the world title, and his nearest rival won't appear in the final, but Hancock is immaculate from the inside gate. What a start. Podzooks is second now. Podzooks charging, but look out for Kasperzak. Is there any room there? Whoa. Yes, there is, just about.
He just about squeezed around the outside of Podzooks. I thought for a moment Podzooks might slam the door shut, but Kasperzak was brave and got himself into second place. Masterclass once again from Hancock out in front. Now Bachelor getting in on the act. Podzooks been relegated at the back. That's a shame for him, but Hancock out in front. Terrific once again away from the inside.
Yeah, Greg Hancock, a Sunday afternoon stroll here in Daugavpils, making it look so easy. And now Podzooks at the back, coming back for more. Into third place. He's going to try and hunt down Kasperzak. Podzooks is going wide. He's going to try the switch up the inside now. The crowd are going wild here. Hancock was delayed. Kasperzak second, but Kasperzak has got Podzooks all over him. He's going to try the inside switch. You do feel that Kasperzak has got just enough speed though, and the experience and the knowledge should hold on. Hancock's in the final, and so is Kasperzak. But what an effort from Kas Podzooks.
Yeah, you got to tip your hat to him. He didn't throw the towel. He was relegated to the back midway through the race, but got the better of Bachelor, and then momentarily had all sorts of pressure on the back of Kasperzak. Hancock supreme. The championship, all of a sudden he's making his move here. We went from the missing out on the final. Super ride from Hancock out in front, and Kasperzak having to work hard. There's some big riders in the final, Nigel. Kasperzak, Pedersen and Hancock. Tough race to call.
Wow. Kenneth Pierre's quick as well. Hancock, Kasperzak, Podzooks and Bachelor are going into the final here in Latvia. There's no tie Northenden, and Greg Hancock leads a world championship by 4 points.
Well, it hasn't been a very good afternoon for Ty Worthenden. He struggled with the bike setup. He scored 8 points, but Hancock has overturned that 3-point deficit coming into this afternoon's meeting, and now he's 4 points cleared. So just shows you how well he's ridden. He's got 15 points, and he's looking really good for the final. Kasperzak there into second place. Podzooks early doors was third. He gets relegated to the back, but fair play to the Latvian. He did ride a stormer because he's able to respond, and he gets himself back into third, and then he sets after Kasperzak, and I thought for a moment, well, I think we both thought that he actually was going to get himself into a final spot by getting the better of Kasperzak. And I don't know if the Latvians made a Grand Prix final. I don't think they have, but by God, he got very close there momentarily. But the two big hitters, you say, the experience coming to the fore. KK, that man Hancock through to the final. Pedersen's there as well with Pierre. Terrific final in prospect.
Richard Child in Hancock's pit crew. As you said earlier, Kelvin, his pit team, his crew all around him have been with him for years.
Rock solid. And there's something to be said for that. Know each other inside out. When you get to those crunch moments, the big decisions to be made, don't often make the wrong ones.
Yep, so the final to come.
I've enjoyed it. I know the racing hasn't been absolutely fabulous, but it's been plenty. There's been enough excitement, and the way the championship title race is sort of flip-flopping. Bit of drama with the news from Ward, of course, before the meeting started, but Podzuk has been more than admirable as his replacement here this afternoon. Now just a lull before the final. No track preparation, so just got to wait for riders to gather their thoughts and make their way up before the draw for the big final.
Yeah.
Interesting to see what Nicky Pedersen goes for, Nigel. I think gate 1 seems to be his preferred starting place. Some deep ruts there, though. You're going to have to be cautious of that. You don't want the bike to ground out, but it will be keen now.
Yeah, it'll be interesting then to see who goes for what with gate positions then in the final here in Latvia. Ty Woffender now. Let's get some post-match reaction with Ty and Chris Louis.
Ty, it's been a very tough night's racing, and you've seen the lead now disappear, 4 points behind Greg as he goes into the final.
Yeah, 4 points is nothing, you know. He's probably going to score a few more here, but everyone knows it's going to happen. It's what racing in a championship's all about. So we'll go home from here, recoup, and come back stronger.
It's been such a tough night, hasn't it? I mean, the racing has been exceptional. It's such a fast track, and the racing line's so near to the fence.
Yeah, you know, you've got to have like the perfect setup, and it looks like Greg and Nicky have got that at the moment. So yeah, it's just part of racing, mate, and struggled a bit today, but I'll come back twice as strong next time.
Well done. Thanks for talking to us.
Yeah, fair play to him. You know, he's didn't need to do that. Can't be easy when you haven't had the best of afternoons. He's seen his World Championship lead disappear, evaporate, and he's now 4 points behind, but he's remaining very positive, and he can bounce back. We've seen that on more than one occasion.
Yep, very much so. Fans filling their programmes in as they prepare for the final here. But who will go in what gate position?
I fancy Pedersen will go for the inside here. I think the big call will be with... It's interesting, will he go for gate 4? No, he's got to go for the inside, yeah, that's no surprise. Pedersen. Now, this is a big call for Greg. Gate 2, he's going to have to then put the pressure on Pedersen down to the first corner.
Cool, that's going to be some first turn,
yes,
isn't it?
Indeed it will be. Kasperzak, gate 4. Gate 3 is the one to have. I just think that gate 4 gives you that extra option. No, gate 3, fair enough, okay. They're out there doing it. And Pierre off the outside. I don't know if he's happy about that, but it might work out for him.
Yeah, so I think he's just delighted to be in the final here.
Oh, he is. He's got to be. It's been tough for him on his return to GP.
Ridden well, though, hasn't he?
He has, yeah, he has, and he's had genuine pace. So, yeah, he's there on right. He hasn't had anything gifted to him here. So, yes, he's done remarkably well to make the final. But Pedersen, Hancock, Kasperzak, obviously favourites for the top 3. Pierre could be a spoiler. But Pedersen off the inside is going to be a tough man to beat.
Fans await the arrival of the riders for the grand final here then in Daugavpils today. It has been a good afternoon of racing. Plenty of drama along the way as well. Last minute switch to Daugavpils from Riga, where we were due last night, of course. But here we are today, and the race for the world title has taken another dramatic twist. 4 rounds remain after this. Gorzhov, Stockholm, Voyens and Torren. So that's all still to come.
Well, Gorzhov is a smashing track. It's got a super stadium, and we've seen some spectacular speedway there. Bartosz Schmarzlik comes in as the wild card, who's been on the rostrum there before.
Looking forward to seeing Bartosz again.
Yeah, absolutely.
Great talent.
Had a brief spell in the UK, but was only brief, yeah. And it was unfortunate the way that works out, but he'll be there in a fortnight's time. Woffenden will be as well, and he'll be very keen to get amongst the points again. Keeping his fingers crossed, of course. He won't wish any ill of Hancock here, but Hancock doesn't score, then obviously that just limits the damage on the afternoon.
Yeah, I think Ty admitted there, didn't he, that he's probably going to get some more points here. Greg Hancock.
Every chance.
Side by side in the pits area.
They'll be side by side on the start line as well, Nige. Gates 1 and 2. Just to see who wins there. There's going to be some, maybe a little bit of, get the better of each other going to the first corner.
It's extraordinary. Greg Hancock, I'm the same age as Greg Hancock. when I see him crouching and bending down and doing some more, if I tried that, I'd never get back up, Kel.
Well, don't try it then.
Okay, mate.
Right, mate. That's my advice. Just keep it simple, son.
I'll just stay upright then.
Yeah, that's right. Lie down or stay upright. Don't do the bouncing in between. No, this is a tense time. So Pedersen hasn't been in a final for a little while. He's found the key to it this afternoon. John Jorgensen's back in his team, and Johnny Jorgensen's a very experienced guy. Had a lot of success with Nicky in previous years. Was part of the championship-winning titles in 07 and 08. Jorgensen has then had some time away, spending time with his boy, who's just about to burst onto the Speedway scene. He's been at the junior Speedway in Scandinavia.
He rode at Parken actually in the races before the meeting itself, John Jorgensen's boy.
Jason,
yeah. Right,
So yeah, Jason is about to get onto the 500 off the 80cc junior bike, and John's been involved with that, but he's been given a call that he's in the pits now. It's worked well here this afternoon.
Well, if you go on results alone, you have to say that it's worked a treat for Nicky Pedersen to have JJ in his pits with him.
Yes, it has. It's been working very nicely. We're waiting now. Track hasn't had any track preparation. They don't prep it for the final. They leave it after the semi-finals. It's a bit of delay here. I'm not quite sure why, but just waiting for the finalists to be released for the last race.
Yeah, it's going to be tense down there, you can be sure of that. Pedersen, Hancock, Kasperzak and Pierre. All about the start here, but even if someone like Kasperzak doesn't make that start, you can never rule him out. And Kenneth Pierre as well, Kelvin. It's probably the underdog here, but he's had a lot of pace this afternoon.
Yeah, he's there on merit. He hasn't had anything gifted to him at all, and he's won a couple of races, and when he's hit the front, there's been no stopping him. So yes, he could be a spoiler coming from the outside. If it opens up, well, you could see him hit the front and stay there.
So the final is upon us. A reminder, if Greg Hancock wins this race, he will go into Gorge over the fortnight's time, 7 points ahead in the World Championship with 4 rounds to go. Not a lot, still tight, but no doubt Ty Woffington will be hoping that Greg Hancock
10-point swing,
some points.
10-point swing. That is a big swing. A very good afternoon so far for Greg Hancock in the championship chase. Nicky Pedersen has returned to form in the Grand Prix. He'll be chuffed to bits with that. Kasperzak doing a lot of gardening now off the side of the bike. Chose gate 3. It didn't work for Woffington in the second semi-final. Will it work for the Polish right in there? And Pierre, the outsider of the 4. He's going from the outside. Big final about to come up.
Here we go, the final of the Rio Tumu Bank FIM Latvian Speedway Grand Prix. And what a meeting we've had, and what a final we've got on our hands. Nicky Pedersen off the inside, Greg Hancock off 2, Christoph Kasperzak going off gate 3, Kenneth Pierre going off the outside gate. Pedersen and Hancock, the 4 men, they top the score charts. Christoph Kasperzak, who was buried in the air fence early on today, picked himself up.
And then rode it, didn't he? And then he rode the air fence as well. He knows that part of the track and the air fence very well indeed. And he'll be hoping that he doesn't rush into it like he did earlier on. This is a big final. A lot of room between Hancock and Pedersen, but Kasperzak and Hancock quite close together. This is a tough, intense race.
Pedersen's made a good one off the inside, but Hancock is far quicker. What a ride from Greg Hancock. And now Kasperzak slots through and comes around the outside of Kenneth Pierre. But Greg Hancock has got that lead. And Hancock is looking like he's going to have a 7-point lead going to Gorjov. Watch out for Kasperzak. Oh! Got him home! Kasperzak!
Fabulous move by KK around the outside of Hancock. Gets the better. He's hit the front when he won his second Grand Prix of the year. Pedersen now through in the 3rd place. Got the better Pierre. Hancock makes such a good start there. Look at Pedersen! Whoa, Pedersen now finds himself in the 2nd place. Hancock struggling for speed. Kasperzak hasn't. He's looking like a winner here this afternoon.
What a final this is! Greg Hancock is hanging on in 3rd now. Christoph Kasperzak into the last lap. Nicky Pedersen 2nd. Greg Hancock 3rd. Kenneth Pierre in the back. And Chris Krzysztof Kasperzak looks over his shoulder, and Krzysztof Kasperzak, after being crowned Polish champion on Thursday night, is going to win the Latvian Grand Prix. It's Krzysztof Kasperzak from Nicky Pedersen, from Greg Hancock, who had the lead early on, and what a final of Speedway that was.
Dramatic final. Got to say, Hancock's got to be a bit disappointed with that. He made such a good start out of gate 2. Looked like he was going to win the Grand Prix, but Kasperzak, with a fabulous move round the bottom corner on the opening lap, fired himself to the front, championed of his home country in Poland on last Thursday night, wins the second Grand Prix of the season. Really delighted with that, and rightly so. He's had a hard time with that knee injury that really has hit his confidence hard. Pedersen in second place, he'll be pleased with that. He's had a hard night, he's really had to scrap for his points, and he battled hard to get the better of Hancock to get himself into second place. And Hancock, in the end, in actual fact, was hanging on to third place with Pierre pushing awfully hard. But Kasperzak, the winner on the day, terrific effort.
Congratulations to Krzysztof Kasperzak, who wins the Latvian Speedway Grand Prix here in Daugavpils. So Kasperzak from Pedersen from Hancock. It does mean that Greg now leads Ty Woffenden by 5 points and not 7. 5 and not 7. Woffenden perhaps was cheering on KK and Nicky as they went past Greg. Well, that was an extraordinary ride from Kasperzak.
It was a fabulous move, because when Hancock had made the start, you just fancied, and particularly Hancock, the form and speed he showed throughout the afternoon. He hasn't looked back, but in the final, the bike just not quite fast enough. And Kasperzak, with a really brave move round that bottom corner, he got the better of Hancock and got himself to the front, and there was no stopping him then. 5:07 on his back, the lucky number. It worked out for him here this afternoon. He's been in terrific form and wins in fine style. Got to have a word about Nicky Pedersen as well, Nige. He has ridden really strongly, and he has got a whole hatful of points. In actual fact, he tops the point scores on 18 points, and that puts him right back in the thick of the action in the context of the World Championship.
Well, he's third in the World Championship now, Nicky Pedersen. It's been a great effort from him. But let's see this again. This is going to be worth watching.
Yeah, initially out of gate 2, Hancock makes a supreme start. Pedersen there just gets chopped. Kasperzak now the move from gate 3. I didn't know if he'd made the right call there, but as it worked out, it was, because he had the confidence, he had the speed in the motorbike. Hancock stamps his authority initially on the race, and you thought from here, from this moment on, it was all about the American. But Kasperzak running deep into turns 3 and 4, roaring around the outside here. Back wheel in the dirt, just gets the slingshot coming off that 4th corner to complete the first lap. Great move from him. Pedersen then gets the better of Hancock. Hancock just struggling for setup here, just getting a little bit too much wheel spin, and actually has to really work very hard just to hang on to 3rd spot in the end of the race, with Pierre beginning to put him under pressure. Pedersen into 2nd. Good effort from the 3-time world champion. Hancock hanging on for 3rd, but KK, he's the main man here this afternoon in Daugavpils.
Yeah, brilliant stuff. But Pedersen and Hancock, as you say, deserve great praise. And what about Kenneth Pierre as well? A rare appearance in the final. Good to see.
Yeah,
for
pleased
Kenneth
for
Pierre.
him. Pleased for him. You know, he could easily have got on the rostrum there. I thought for a moment that Hancock looked very vulnerable in 3rd place, but he was. So.
Well, let's get some reaction now from the winner, Krzysztof Kasperzak, with Chris Louis.
Winner of the Rachumo Bank Latvian Speedway Grand Prix, Krzysztof Kasperzak, your season is back on track.
Yeah, thank you very much. It's very bad crash for me. My right leg now is problem, I feel, but will be better now, adrenaline, and I try keep going, and I change the bike, and very good. Thank you very much to all fans, and dziękuję Polakom za doping i pozdrawiam wszystkich Polaków w Polsce i kibiców z Gorzowa.
What does it mean to your season? You're up to 5th place now in the championship.
Oh, I never be like this, too high. Yeah, I lose like this crash in the knee, like maybe 7 points in Finland, 7 more Lilla. But what we can do? I'm trying to keep going now and stop top 8. I would like to try make GP next season.
Congratulations, Krzysztof. Enjoy your champagne moment.
Dziękuję, pozdrawiam, thank you very much.
Yeah, well done, Krzysztof Kasperzak, and he's saying there his priority is to make the GP next season. So,
well, the evidence of that, I don't think he'll have too many problems, really, because he's been brilliant this afternoon, and he's had a fantastic few days, winning the national championship in fine style in Zelina Gora on Thursday. Turns up on Sunday afternoon in Daugavpils and cleans up with a fine victory. Good work from all three riders. Hancock, a 5-point lead in the World Championship. He'll be chuffed with that. That's a good job.
Christoph Kasperzak, congratulations to him. Super afternoon's work, and for Greg Hancock and Nicky Pedersen as well. It really has been superb. And when Hancock made that start, not to have the race under control, you would never have thought that he would have ended up finishing third.
No, and hanging on for third, because earlier on, well, for the majority of the afternoon, he's had plenty of speed when he's hit the front, but just running out a bit of speed in the final. Maybe the bike just spinning up a little bit. Maybe the gearing needed to be changed for the final. But big smiles from him, and 5-point lead in the championship. Pretty good job.
Good day's work.
Yeah, good day's work.
And for Nicky Pedersen in second place as well from Denmark. Nicky taking second spot here today and stamping his authority in third place in the World Championship table. Will he believe that with a late surge in Gorzów, Stockholm, and
first
Boyens in his
place
home
and
country,
tonight's winner of 2014 Regional Bank Latvian Speedway Grand Prix, Krzysztof Kasperzak.
Christoph Kasperzak.
First place trophy presented by the head of the city of Daugavpils, Jānis Latvijas. Applaus to Krzysztof.
Congratulations to Christoph.
Well,
absolutely
good job.
superb.
Good job. He rode well in the final. Great move early on in the race around the outside in the bottom corner. That sealed the deal for him. Got to say that the announcer is quite special here. That was quite extraordinary. But the champagne moment's coming up, Nigel, and fully deserved after a traumatic 48 hours we've had. All the drama of yesterday, all forgotten now. Had a good Grand Prix, winners and losers. Championship race now beginning to open up. Pedersen back in on the act. Kasperzak wins his second Grand Prix. It's all good.
And remember, Gorzów is a track Nicky Pedersen knows well. It's the next round of the World Championship in a fortnight's time. Well, we hope you've enjoyed our coverage today. It really has been a fine afternoon of racing here. Not every race a classic, but we have seen some fast and furious action. And just to back up what we were talking about with the World Championship standings, that was after round 7. Now we've had 8 rounds, and Hancock leads by 5. So that's an 8-point swing, because Woffington led by 3 before today. And now you have Nicky Pedersen on 86 points. Probably, 17 points off the lead, possibly a bit too much, but with 4 rounds to go, he will still be
well, mathematically, it's perfectly possible. Injuries, all sorts of things going to happen, but you're right, Nige, he will believe it. And on the evidence of the Speedway World Cup and getting on the rostrum here, he's finding some good form again. I think John Jorgensen might be visiting a few more Grand Prix before the end of the season. That seems to have worked very well for him. But yeah, it's happy days for those 3. And Hancock, you know, at the age of 44, 5-point lead in the World Championship. Can he make it 3 world titles?
Yes, absolutely, why not? Because he's a great starter. But Woffington will come back, Kelvin, won't he?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. He's had a bad day at the office. He'll forget this one and come back. We've seen him ride well in Gorzów last year with a broken collarbone. He made the rostrum that day, so we know that he's more than capable there. And, you know, it was a poor day, but he's still got 8 points. It could have been a lot worse, and he dug deep in that last right to win it. Just didn't have quite the setup required to make the final.
A good day here in Daugavpils today. We came here after the postponement in Riga yesterday. The crowd have enjoyed it, and Kelvin summed it up perfectly with the new twist in the World Championship race, and some good racing here as well. Good stuff.
Yeah, by and large, I think people have enjoyed themselves. The weather behaved itself. It was a bit tricky, but yeah, good day of racing.
Thanks very much, Kelvin. We'll see you in Gorzów in a FIM Latvian Speedway Grand Prix moved from Riga to Daugavpils after the unfortunate postponement of the event in Riga on Saturday. Everybody went to Daugavpils on Sunday afternoon and they were treated to some fast, furious and spectacular action. Would you believe Christoph Kasperzak and Chris Harris, they were superb as they bounced back from that crash and were able to maintain their interest in the meeting, and Kasperzak kicking on and building on his superb win in the Polish Championship 3 days before. Despite the fact that he crashed and was suffering the injury from that incident, he still maintained a high standard of racing. Greg Hancock in the thick of the action. Ty Woffenden, who was the leader of the World Championship before this event, was under pressure. Niels Christian Iversen had 1 or 2 bike problems which let him down, but Hancock continued to be absolutely immaculate away from the start. Simply stunning rides from the 44-year-old. It also signalled the return of Nicky Pedersen to top-class form in the World Championship race. Pedersen reeled off 3 straight wins to book his place in the semi-finals. Chris Harris got a rare race win as well, which was just reward after his nasty crash a little bit earlier. But the meeting saw Chris Holder just miss out on a place in the semi-finals. Got dramatic towards the end. Iversen, well, bike problems let him down, and that enabled Pedersen the opportunity to kick on and stamp his authority in the top 3. Batchelor booked himself a rare place in the semi-finals, and now Iversen missing out with bike problems. But Nicky Pedersen kicking on and getting through to the final, as did Greg Hancock. Woffenden missed out in his semi-final. It all went down to the grand final in Daugavpils. Christoph Kasperzak came from the back after Hancock made a stunning start. Kasperzak passed him, Pedersen passed him. It was a Kasperzak, Pedersen, Hancock 1-2-3, but Greg Hancock leads the World Championship going into round 9 by 3.5 points.